Namaste. My name is Sharon Lowen, and I conceived of this festival, Omkara Dance Festival, as an opportunity to bring some of our most wonderful, intangible cultural heritage from around India to Delhi. Things that have not been seen of this level, quality, authenticity, and maintaining tradition. And so this Seraikella Chhau group, the Trinetra Chhau Centre from Seraikella in Jharkhand, has come in this unbelievable heat of our current Delhi and North India summer to perform and share their art. Last night, the entire audience was bowled over. They said either we have never seen this or we have never seen this quality. This is the Seraikella Chhau that was developed in the princely state of Seraikella, where the patronage by the royal family, which included members of royalty actually performing and choreographing, resulted in a mask dance tradition based on a paika or martial arts tradition earlier that is evocative, poetic, and something that is shared by all members of the community during Chait Parv and other important festivals. So now I would love for you to hear from some of the artists from Jharkhand who have dedicated their lives to preserving and promoting and sharing this wonderful Seraikella Chhau dance.
Namaste to everyone. Myself Sunil Dubey, Seraikella, Jharkhand, and I am a Chhau musician and leading the Trinetra group of Seraikella, which is established by my great brother Pandit Gopal Prasad Dubey, Padma Shri, and after his demise, I am doing his all the duties to promote this art, Seraikella Chhau, and this center. After a long, I came to Delhi in support of Guru Ma Sharon Lowen. I worked with her in several festivals and some choreography also, and we have done CPC production, Jeevan Rekha, Ashoka the great film, and I am very much happy to hear, and thanks to Guru Ma who invited to this great Omkara festival. Again, I thanks to her. Seraikella Chhau is a unique dance form, Hindu dance form, and we have all the elements are here classical, and I am happy to say that this year Seraikella Chhau is recognized as the 9th classical dance form of India. And we have performed abroad also, Seraikella Chhau, and still we are maintaining the originality of Seraikella Chhau, and we have never mixed anything, any other forms in Seraikella Chhau especially, as my brother says, that we must keep our tradition and preserve this. Still you are performing this Seraikella Chhau wherever it's so. And we have performed in Delhi, Mumbai, Mangalore, and so many places in India. And especially after a long, we came here, and I am very happy to find ourselves, all the team. Our team are very, very energetic, and I am thankful to Guru Ma Sharon Lowen, who invited to this great dance festival, and hope in future we again work with her. Thanks.
Actions like this is that there's two parts. One, of course, that like anything that's live, it's a dialogue. And you are participating, it's happening in front of you, and you have a more immediate 360 experience. But at the same time, it's recorded, which means that the amazing historical things of our intangible heritage will be documented, will be available, so that so many who you know, couldn't be with us this morning, it's available, you know, infinitely in time and for others. But for any presentation, you need, like giving a gift, you need people to be sharing it with. And so those of you that have come out in the heat early in the morning to be with us will make it possible for the panelists, the speakers, to actually be sharing with you, and therefore it will be shared with so many others in future. So that's very substantial. Anna? Whenever I do a festival, I always feel like doing a seminar. It just seems there's so many things to look at. But I'll share one anecdote. Some years ago, disciples of Guru Kelucharan Mahapatra from around India had gathered in Bhubaneswar when Ratikant, his son, had organized a celebration. I can't remember if it was birth or death. So we were all there, and we were all enjoyed it, and were very enthusiastic, and we all said, wow, we should share responsibility and do it in different cities. And do it in Kolkata, do it in Delhi, do it in Bombay, and like that. And then I was talking about, like, you know, a seminar. Because actually just to have a bunch of dancers presenting, is it just beating your own drum? I mean, what is the value of it for people who come, right? So I was talking about seminar and different things about tradition, pedagogy, authenticity, and, you know, my mind was going, topics. Then I came back to Delhi, and I spoke to Kumkum Mohanty, who is one of Guruji's most senior and most cultured and knowledgeable people. And I talked about this, because I said a seminar gives it a value for others, not just that we're dancing. And she said, nobody's interested in a seminar. Dancers don't want to come and you know, and she just poured cold water totally, just forget it. Right? So that particular project ended. But somehow whenever I think about doing something like this, I feel it's important. And this one in particular, because if this is a unique festival, everything is unique, of course. But these two groups, and I would add Navtej also, are #1 artists you don't see very often. They're not your mainstream, regularly seen artists. So, Kumkum Mohanty, who is, as we all know, the senior-most disciple of Guruji, where many of the dances were choreographed in her home when she was a kid, very naughty kid. I mean, we have the stitched costume that we have because she would get wrapped up and say, I have to go to the bathroom. And then they had to unwrap her and wrap her again. So then Guruji thought, let's see, is there a way that we could, you know, make it so you put it on and off.
Even the notation was done in her home.
And the notation. And of course, the unbelievable brilliance of the father, mother of Odissi, in terms of music, Bhuvaneshwar Mishra and Kelu Babu. Okay, so there she is. Now, she's a young person. She's only 78. So that means she's going to be around for at least another 20 years. But eventually, she will be off this mortal earth. And then, anybody can say anything about the tradition. So if a young artist, I mean, you know, Odissi dancers that are here, if we do something and somebody, the critics say, you're beyond the pale. You know, you're not moving forward, you're moving sideways or in the wrong direction. If we do that, that's fine. But if there aren't the senior people to speak, people who actually knew what's what, then people can say, oh, this is absolutely fine. So, you know, so this is why we're having this seminar, because what is important that is essential to retain, what is going in a Sita line, you know, but you have to keep moving forward. So that's one thing. So we want to hear the words about what has happened in 100 years of dance. Before she was dancing, there was Odissi, and everybody can read, and we all know background. But what's happened during the lifespan of this artist, and what then does she see, you know, about it? Now, as far as the Chhau goes, this particular group, whose founder passed away very early, prematurely. In 1981, when I started learning Seraikella Chhau, and he was also a student of Trinetra Chhau, he decided he wanted to learn Odissi. I tried. I failed. He never learned Odissi. But they still call, that's why they all call me Guruma. Not because I'm the Guruma for Chhau, but I'm their guru's Guruma. But a failed one. But we collaborated. We collaborated. The first time Chhau was seen not in front of the tractors at Pragati Maidan was when I organized a performance at Kamani Auditorium. And there's so many things in my life. I'm padding till Nadi comes. There's so many things in my life. It's the backwards compliments that are the biggest compliment, because there was such a backlash. Why did I get to present them and they weren't being presented by the government? So then Chhau started getting proper presentations on auditoriums and stages, and not just in front of the tractors. That was nice. And yeah, and then we did these productions. That one at Kamani, then we recorded it at for Doordarshan. Then we made another ballet Ashoka with everything, with Mayurbhanj and Seraikella. Now, the last one was 1994. Since that time, they have not had the opportunity, nor any other group, to perform in Delhi, because we have an excellent dancer in Delhi, and Delhi seems to feel that no other Chhau needs to be seen. And so we do have Chhau, and it's wonderful, and people enjoy it and they learn it. But in Seraikella, in Baripada, the two more sophisticated forms of Chhau developed under royal patronage, they've just kind of been trying to hang in there. And so it was important and a responsibility to their guru, my disciple and colleague, Gopal Dubey, SNA awardee, Padma Shri, to bring them to Delhi. And I'm very happy that everybody who saw the program last night was like, wow. Because they're maintaining what we call the tradition, whatever that is, but yes. They were maintaining the tradition in the choreography, in the performance of it, in the costumes, and they tell me that many others are not, but I'm fortunate that I haven't seen those.
Even the music.
The music, of course. I mean, this is when I look at it, it's just like, yeah, that's what it is. But I have no idea what changes, developments, distortions, lack of memory, simplifications are there by any others, because I haven't seen them. Bharat, of course, Bharat Sharma back here, I said he's got to come because he and I trained in Mayurbhanj Chhau in the mid-70s, and he is much closer to many things, aspects of Chhau and its development. You ready? We're still waiting for Navi. Sure. That's true, he could be. He doesn't know it's at the annex. That's not, okay, here, just give him a call. That's probably it. He might be wandering around conference rooms. At IIC, it's very hard to know. Okay, yes, we went to the wrong place. There's conference rooms, there's lecture halls, and it's like, which building, which floor, which thing. I mean,
so much.
with decades, I still can't be sure, like where, which one. It's not only IIC that's like that. IGNC is like that. It's like you never know when you land up there where you're supposed to be. And it's bigger. Anyway. We'll formally start when Navi comes. So, for them to talk about what's happening in terms of their tradition, Seraikella, is something that I am very, very happy that we're going to have a few nuggets of sharing of where it's been. And as I say, with all these traditions, the history is known to some people that are involved and interested. They know background. Others, of course, are new to everything. But what in the panelists, the speakers, in their personal life experience, have they really imbibed, and what are the things that are to them should not be changed, that must be there, and what things can and should be changed, and how they change, and where do they see where they are, where it's going. And I have no idea what all they will share, pretty much, but it's important. And then Navtej, right? Come have a seat, and then we'll start formally. It's okay. So I was just saying that we've got these two traditions. People who haven't been in Delhi, from Jharkhand, from Orissa, talking about these traditions. And Navi is here because, number one, he thinks. He's a thinking dancer. He loves dance, and he doesn't like to see it. And so why that is, and what brought him to this point in his life's journey in dance, will be very interesting. And so now that you're here, I'm going to ask Nitish Ananda to actually start the seminar.
Namaskar, and a very good morning to all of you. On behalf of Manasa-Art Without Frontiers, I warmly welcome all of you to Parivartan-Generational Change in Dance Seminar. Our esteemed panel today will share their personal experiences on the changes in their field of dance from pre-mid 20th century practices through today. We would like to thank the India International Centre, Lalit Hospitality Group, Dhumimal Art Gallery, Alap Foundation, Sangeet Vidyaniketan, Shubhi Publications, Sarojini Rao Memorial Trust, Ehsas, and the Manasa-Art Without Frontiers family and community for all your support. I would now like to introduce our respected speakers. Guru Kumkum Mohanty from Geeta Govinda School, Odissi School, Bhubaneswar. Guru Kumkum Mohanty is an exponent of Odissi, a guru, author and administrator who not only captured the imagination of audiences worldwide with her graceful abhinaya, but also someone who codified the grammar in Odissi dance. Born in 1946 at Cuttack, Odisha, she studied dance and music at Kala Vikas Kendra from the age of 11, soon focusing on Odissi under Guru Kelucharan Mahapatra. The compositions of Odissi repertoire between 1955 and 1965 were largely created by Guru Kelucharan Mahapatra and Pandit Bhuvneshwar Mishra's music, with Kumkumji remembering them after nights of compositions followed by her studies. In her late 60s, Odissi repertoire grew, and simultaneously Kumkumji became popular at an all-India level after performing at the 1967 Central Sangeet Natak Academy seminar on the impact of Geeta Govinda on classical Indian dances of India. Her father allowed her to accept ICCR's invitation to perform in Russia in 1970 only if she passed the IAS examination. She joined Allied Services at the Indian Postal Service and came to Odisha in 1983 on deputation. She was instrumental in establishing the Odissi Research Centre, a Government of Odisha autonomous body under the chairmanship of the then Chief Minister. A seminar for 50 artists and gurus of Maharis and Gotipur, all in their old age, resulted in her book, The Odissi Dance Pathfinder 1. 66 poses and 35 movements performed by 5 gurus and named by 3 Sanskrit scholars, Sanjukta Panigrahi, Guru Pankaj Charan Das, Guru Kerushan Mahapatra, and Srimati Kumkum Mohanty, was published as the Odissi Dance Pathfinder 2. She has worked as the Special Secretary of Culture to the Government of Odisha and started her dance school, Geeta Govinda, in 2006. Her awards include the Padma Shri, Sangeet Natak Academy Award, Guru Kerushan Mahapatra Award, Odisha Sangeet Natak Academy Award, and the second Nrityangada Samman. We warmly welcome you, ma'am.
I left you out too much. No. Give you something better. Okay.
The Trinetra Chhau Dance Centre, Seraikella, was established in 1985 by late Pandit Gopal Prasad Dubey, Padma Shri and SNA awardee, to promote dance, music and culture and to impart training to his students. In India, the Trinetra Chhau Dance Centre has performed all over, and abroad they have performed at the Symphony Space, New York City, Disney World, Springwheel Dance Festival, Kansas University, and the Tokyo Japan Suzuki Festival, to name a few. The talented team of Chhau dancers and musicians continues under the direction of Pandit Gopal Dubey's brother, Shri Sunil Kumar Dubey. He started his dance training from the age of 7 under Guru Natashekar Banabihari Patanayak and Guru Kedarnath Sahu, Padma Shri, sequential directors of the Government Chhau Dance Centre, Seraikella. Sunilji went on to receive musical training in flute under legendary Guru Kalachand Bhole and vocal training in bhajan, geet and ghazal from Bhajan Samrat Guru Anup Jalota in Mumbai. Shri Sunil Dubey has received junior and senior fellowships for Chhau music, performed around India for stage, film and television, as well as Japan, Vietnam, Malaysia, Laos and China as part of the Trinetra Chhau Centre tours. Trinetra productions for which he has composed music include 2 Doordarshan national programs for dance, Ashoka and Jeevan Rekha, choreographed by Srimati Sharon Lowen and Pandit Gopal Dubey, Shyam Benegal's TV serial Bharat Ek Khoj, Punjab University's Andha Yug, and Amol Palekar's TV serial Mrig Nayani, among many others. I warmly welcome you, sir. Shri Navtej Johar, Studio Abhyas. Shri Navtej Johar is a dancer choreographer, scholar, yoga exponent and a social activist. A recipient of the Sangeet Natak Academy Award for Contemporary Choreography in 2014, his work within all fields of his varied interests remains consistently body-centric. It intertwines practice with critical theory and social action, traverses freely between the traditional and the contemporary, and rigorously engages both the philosophical and sociological discourses of the body. His choreographies draw on plural vocabularies: Bharatanatyam, yoga, physical theatre, and somatics, and has won critical acclaim both nationally and internationally. Based upon decades of practice, teaching and performing, Johar has devised two pedagogical methods of embodied practice: the BARPS method, that is designed to instill the experience of sukha or pleasurable ease in asana, and Abhyas somatics, that is designed to orchestrate an experience of rasa, integral to Indian poetics, within mindful movement. He is the founder-director of Studio Abhyas, New Delhi, and faculty at the Performing Arts Department, Ashoka University, Sonipat. I welcome you, sir.
Good morning.
And lastly, our moderator, Guru Srimati Sharon Lowen, and the founder of Manasa-Art Without Frontiers. Guru Sharon Lowen is a distinguished performing artist, teacher, choreographer, and scholar, presenting and promoting Indian classical dance throughout India, North and South America, Europe, Africa, South and Southeast Asia, the Middle East, and Japan over more than 50 years. Her performances have garnered acclaim for her technical precision, expressive artistry, and deep cultural understanding. She came to India from the USA after her BA and MA Honours degree in dance, Asian Studies, Humanities, and Fine Arts as a Fulbright scholar in 1973 to continue her Manipuri training in Delhi and Imphal. She then travelled through the world with Odissi, and she trained in Mayurbhanj Chhau under Guru Krishna Chandra Nayak, Odissi under Guru Kirtan Mahapatra, and Seraikella Chhau with Kedarnath Sahu, and travelled the world with her gurus with her performances. She has contributed extensively to the discourse on Indian classical dance through articles, lectures, workshops, and books. She received the Prime Minister's Award, Acharya Narayan Dev Sarokar Samajik Samman in 1991, and the Delhi Sahitya Kala Parishad Samman 92, amongst many others. Guru Sharon Lowen was featured as herself in the award-winning Telugu film Swarna Kamalam, directed by K. Viswanath, to inspire the heroine to value her own Indian dance heritage. Sharon Lowen's remarkable career as a dancer, writer, and educator has made her a pivotal figure in the global promotion and preservation of Indian classical dance. I would now like to invite her to begin the session.
Thank you. Okay, now we want to hear a lot of things. Quick context. We're talking about intangible cultural heritage. And the definition of that, as we all know, most of you have heard this, it means the practices, representations, expressions, knowledge, skills, as well as instruments, objects, cultural spaces that communities, groups, and sometimes individuals recognize as part of cultural heritage. It is, of course, transmitted generation to generation, which is why we're looking at that generational change. It's also constantly recreated by communities and groups in response to their environment, and it gives them a sense of identity, continuity, and promoting respect for cultural diversity and human creativity. Now, UNESCO list includes many different dance genres, but an interesting point I wanted to mention is that some dance forms, even if they're officially recognized as heritage from their country of origin, are practiced and enjoyed all over the world. As example, they give is flamenco from Spain, from Argentina are international, and I think now we have to say that Indian classical dance forms are very much in that category. Certainly, they're out of their region of origin, and also demonstrably out of the country of origin. So it's a complex phenomenon. It involves culture, traditions, etc. So now I would like, because of the time, and I would like, and because we have a tea break at 11:15, I would like to ask each of you to just give an overview, an overarching thing of basically as much of the history before your life as you feel you must give for context, but to focus on what has in your lifetime, every 10 years or so, how things have been different, and things that, which we can get into after the lunch break when you have more time, what have been the motivational changes in the way your art is taught, the methods of teaching, obviously institutions, blah, 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 and how the dances were composed, and what's happened to that kind of creativity, how is it moving now, and the relationship even of students to their gurus in this whole process. And then there's obviously all of the stuff about music, text, technique, abhinaya, costumes, and then of course the practicals. Where was it, is it, will it be performed? And what is the external evaluation of your art earlier in your life, now, and in future, because that changes. What do people think of the dancers and the dance that you offer? What does it mean for your community or for wider audiences? I do hope everyone will switch off their phones. Thank you. And what is the freedom, this would be afternoon, what's the freedom of personal expression beyond, you know, whatever is considered to be core? And then what are the pushes and pulls on the practice today? What motivates change? And so I think I would like to start with Navtej. Yeah.
Hello, good morning. First of all, Sharon, thank you for inviting me, for thinking of me. And Kumkumji, Mubarak. Very honored to be on this panel. Legendary personalities in the field of dance. Sharon, you might have to remind me a little bit of the questions because there are too many.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't matter. Yeah. Anything you want to talk about.
Yeah, so basically about where I come from, right? Sure. Is that broad? That's broadly what you've asked as question one. I
think you need to have the context of how did you really, from Bharatanatyam, how did you, what motivated you to that and then to the level of doing contemporary, and what does that mean? And what's the world?
How many minutes do I have? That's a long lead, but I'll try.
Life story.
Okay. Okay, let me quickly kind of give you a map, because I think it's important. It's important to, because I can say that where I am today and the way I'm thinking today and the way I expect, what I expect out of dance is in a big way influenced by where I come from, or what I was like, what were my aspirations, or what were my sensitivities or sensibilities even before I started to study dance. I grew up in Chandigarh. I come from a Sikh family, a nice Orthodox Sikh family, where of course there was no question of dance. And when I decided to dance, of course there was, a bit of a drama. But that was okay. So, the things that informed me, which relate to dance now, I grew up on, as most Punjabis or most North Indians, I grew up on a lot of Punjabi Sufi music. I grew up on a lot of Begum Akhtar, the whole genre of ghazal, and the nuance in the ghazal. Like I remember as a child, my first thing was Begum Akhtar saying, "Hai tera dost magar aadmi acha to nahi." Just the thing, "Hai tera dost magar aadmi acha to nahi." I mean, it's so paradoxical, And I mean, it still does something to me. So I would say that I got into where I am. I got into the things that kind of whet my appetite for what I thought dance would promise me was Bulle Shah, Shamsen, Nanak, Kabir, Mirabai, and all the musicians, like the Thumris I heard as a child, Rasulan Bai, I forget the names now, but so anyways, there was a lot of that. And then before I even knew anything about Bharatanatyam, because this is like pre-television, no? TV भी नहीं होती थी. And the images that I saw of male dancers, I was completely put off by. I mean, I used to kind of think, मुझे बिल्कुल भी रुचि नहीं थी dance की तरफ. And then I heard, the first Carnatic music I heard was MLB. MLB's Tilana, she done some Tilana in a Hindi film, and I sat up and I said, "ये किस तरह का गाना है?" You know. And then I started to kind of, even without knowing what it was, I started to kind of move to it. And then I think I was in my first year of college that I happened upon M.S.O. Lakshmi's music, and that kind of completely changed my mind. And one of my pieces which I am quite known for is Meenakshi Memadam Dehi. And that I heard Meenakshi Memadam Dehi in 1979 for the first time, and I said, this is what I want. Because it touched me so much, So I went with these expectations of musicality and what music can do to me. This is what lured me into dance. Because मुझे भी याद है कि I used to think, I used to feel so inspired by this music, and I also felt very inadequate. That I'm feeling my feelings are way exceeding my abilities to express them, and I felt compelled to express them too. So, anyways, to cut a long story short, I joined Curator, which today I say is my second home, because I was lucky to be there in the 80s when Navtej was still alive, and Curator was what Curator was. And the thing that struck me about Curator was just the ambience of it. I went there on a very, very hot June afternoon when the school was closed, and I went to see the place. That's all. I had no idea. I kind of ran away. I went to Madras on the sly. Nobody knew that I Madras gaya hu. I Delhi aaya tha Chandigarh se, that I got into the Tamil Nadu Express. And I got there and I spent the entire day on the campus because I was so enchanted by the space. And I said, कि यहाँ जो भी सिखाते हैं ना, मैं सीखूँगा. It was as simple as that. I will learn whatever they are teaching me, because the place was magical. It was like out of my dream come true. And then of course I started training, and I loved it. I went to America, came back from America just to live in Curator again. This is how much I love the place. But even though I loved the place as much as I still do, I mean, the Curator then, there was something that would kind of, मुझको कुछ चीज़ खटकती थी कि something is not right. Something is not all right in heaven, so to speak. It was heaven for me. But मुझे लगता था कुछ तो है. मतलब things can't be so perfectly all right, the way it was being presented. And it took me a long time to realize that kuch jo bhi hai, I've spent my entire life. And I say this to young people today, that there were hunches. Like I think that when you're a young adult, there are hunches you have which you can't quite pinpoint, or you can't quite substantiate, or you can't quite prove. But there's a niggling feeling, and I think what has brought me to where I am today, my inquiry is based on those hunches I had as a teenager. So protect your hunches. If you have hunches, they are sacred. I became a dancer. I did Bharatanatyam I still do Bharatanatyam. And there was a time where I started to not like what I watched. I just started to not like what I watched. And in the beginning, I felt like, oh, how can I do that? Who am I? Who am I not to like? मैं होता ही कौन हूँ? but that thing kept persisting and pushing me, and I saw dance becoming progressively what I call fake. I couldn't tolerate it after a while. क्या मुंह बना के चले जाते हैं, स्टेज पे आते हैं मुंह से बना के चले जाते हैं, you know. And I should see. I remember that very vividly. Like I was seeing these young dancers dancing from here to there, making this thing of covering space, covering stage. I said, कितनी मेहनत कर रहे हैं, कितनी मेहनत कर रहे हैं, and there's no movement. I mean, it was a vivid, like a wake up moment for me when I said they are moving so hard, and there is no movement. And I said, it's a sham. And I have not gone back on those words or that perception, because it's just been reinforced again and again and again and again. And now I'm completely like, you know, I want to see something that moves me. So that took me on to other things. I even do theatre now. Another thing is I began with theatre. When I was in Chandigarh in college, this was post-emergency. Emergency really khatam hui thi, and I started doing very, very political street theatre based on the Tarkunde reports. And I enjoyed theatre. But then, after about 2 or 3 years of rigorous theatre, I was doing it with J.S. Channi. Some of you would know him. मुझे लगा कि I don't like theatre because theatre is so verbose. इतना बोलना पड़ता है, you know, कि बोल के. And I didn't find that very satisfying. And what satisfies me about dance to date is, you know, and I'll stop with this and then we can continue. What I think dance is meant for, and what satisfies me about dance is that human experience always has exceeded speech. I mean, there are so many things that I can feel deeply, but I have no expression for it. I mean, ये fact है, ये आपको मानना पड़ेगा that language, no matter how refined, is limited. Language is limited. Human experience exceeds speech. And there is something about dance which just by a shade of my eye can tell what I can't put words to. And that is why I'm seeing dances. That is what I want to see dances. And dance has become such an illustration. I keep saying dance is nothing else but very show and tell. They are doing show and tell. पहले बताते हैं हम ये करेंगे फिर वो कर देते हैं. मतलब I don't have words to explain कि कितना फजूल है ये मेरे हिसाब से. So the ability, not even the ability, to orchestrate an ambience. I use the word ambience a lot. Abhinay happens in an ambience. I create an ambience and फिर उसमें मैं खेलता हूँ. And it is like when the body betrays, allowing the body to betray that what a word cannot capture, that what is not even allowed to be said, more than anything else. The body to betray that which is not allowed to be said. And we all know how much is disallowed. That is why dance is a transgression. Dance is not a confirmation, and dance has become a complete confirmation. If dance has become a confirmation, तो फिर dance की छुट्टी होगी मेरे हिसाब से. I mean, to me, actually, I'm sitting here, dance is dead. I'm saying this with all honesty, with all humility. To me, dance is packaged and dead. Because it's packaged. So इस पैकेज को किस तरह से अनरैप करना है, किस तरह से त्यागना है, किस तरह से फाड़ना है, रूह को आजाद करने के लिए is something that I think the next generation has to work on. I mean, this is, I know that, yeah, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry I have to say that on a day when, you know, we are celebrating her. Because this is also a paradox. People have, and I've been one of them, people have spent their entire lives devoted to the dance. And I would also like to ask her कि by the end of this, आपको क्या लगता है कि, you know, there are, because we were idealists, right? And we have grown up on idealism, the idealism of culture, the idealism of beauty. कि कभी-कभी लगता है कि जो हमने ये आदर्श पाले थे, इनमें शायद कुछ, I mean, do we question that? I really want to know people who have been in the field for so long. Because I know, in my own gurus I've seen that they have said and done things which betray their dissatisfaction or misgivings about the very things that they have upheld all their lives. And we are considered to be the cultural custodians. You know, I remember when I was coming out of Kalakshetra, this gentleman came up to me and he says, now you are going to be the cultural ambassador of India. And I said, oh shit. Literally, I mean, even at that teacher said, oh my God, is that what I'm ready for? Is that what my job is? So ये जो क्रॉस है ना कल्चरल एम्बेसडरशिप का, ये तो मतलब इसी को पहले क्वेश्चन कीजिए कि क्या है. Anyway, so I think I'll stop there, right?
Please,
that's
yes,
enough.
thank
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Navi. Just two thoughts. One, the fact is that with all of the foundational, the pedagogy, the technique, the thing that is core is communication through the body, which is not about genre, which form, where is your elbow, how much do you bend, or your repertoire, but it is about the communication. And with all of the background that he gave, and I remembered his SNA award is for contemporary dance. So in the next session, it's like, how did that come out of all of this? That's very interesting. Okay, now I'm going to ask Sunil Dubey to give an overview. I mean, and it's a very different context, because, you know, you're talking about coming out of the packaging. We need to come out of the packaging. And with Seraikella, again, we have these wonderful packages, which are still very vital, depending on how you do it. Manubhav is, you know, totally, that it can even be in a package. But like, where is the new coming out of it? Anyway, that's for later. So, Sunil, by whatever you would like to share about your experience with a life in Chhau, where it was, where it is, where it's going. Just 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes max, 10 minutes to overview.
Okay. Good morning, namaskar and johar. मैं सुनील दुबे झारखंड सरायकेला से हूँ और आई एम थैंकफुल टू गुरुमा कि हमें ये शानदार मौका मिला है यहाँ कुछ सुनाने के लिए छौ के बारे में. सरायकेला छौ के बारे में मैं पहले तो ये बताऊंगा कि मैंने इस छौ के बारे में 7-8 साल की उम्र में मेरे घर के बगल में सेंटर है. There is a government Chhau Dance Centre and it is very near to my house. मैं सुबह से वहाँ पहुँच जाता था और वहाँ पे गुरु बन बिहारी पटनायक जी आते थे, सिखाते थे बच्चों को. तो मैंने भी वहाँ जाके बैठता था गुरु जी के पास. तो छोटे छोटे स्टेप्स वगैरह मेरे को सिखाया हो. I learned some steppings of Chhau. और उसके बाद उनके जाने के बाद कुछ वर्षों के बाद गुरु साहू जी, केदार साहू जी वहाँ पे डायरेक्टर हो गए. उनसे मैंने 1-2 बचपन की डांस सीखा और मेरे से बड़े भाई पंडित गोपाल दुबे जो आज हमारे बीच नहीं है, वो उनसे सीख रहे थे. तो मेरे घर में बहुत बोलने लगे कि वो भी डांस सीख रहा है, तुम भी डांस सीख रहे हो, अरे तुमको दूसरा से हो, तुम गाने उन्ने में हो तो म्यूजिक सीखो. सरायकेला छौ की म्यूजिक को मैंने फिर साधना शुरू किया. गुरु साहू जी ने वही बोला कि गोपाल तो सीख रहा है डांस, तुम म्यूजिक सीखो. और मेरे से जो छोटा भाई था, इज अ वेरी गुड तबला प्लेयर, मिस्टर देवराज, और उसको रिदम में डाल दिया गया. वो रिदम बजाता है, बहुत अच्छा रिदमिस्ट है. तो हम तीनों भाई मिलके 1986 में केंद्र खोला हम लोगों ने त्रिनेत्र, और उसके बाद हम लोग ने यहाँ वहाँ परफॉर्मेंस किया. और चंडीगढ़ में हमने म्यूजिक के लिए मोहन मासी साहब जी के साथ काम किया. और फिर वहाँ से आके गुरुमा के साथ जीवन रेखा अशोका, उस समय मैं काम किया भाई के साथ, बड़े भाई के साथ, और एक मेरे छोटा भाई भी था. तो हम लोगों ने इस तरह छौ के अंदर घुस गया और पढ़ाई तो बहुत कम ही हो सका। ग्रेजुएशन किया मैंने और संगीत और नृत्य में ही डूबा रहा। और इंडिया के कई सारे जगह में हम लोगों ने कार्यक्रम किया और विदेशों में भी हम तीनों भाई जाते थे, करते थे प्रोग्राम्स। तो बहुत अच्छा लगा। सरायकेला छौ तो सरायकेला के लिए जीवन रेखा है। वहाँ हर घर में आपको कलाकार मिलेंगे छौ की। और वैसे भी वहाँ पे ड्रामा भी बहुत था। छौ का हम लोगों का छौ थोड़ा अलग है। छौ के 3 टाइप्स हैं, सरायकेला छौ, मयूरभंज छौ एंड मानभूम छौ। सरायकेला छौ जो है वो यूनिक स्टाइल है। हमारे छौ में आपको देखेंगे मुद्राज भी हैं बट नॉट परमानेंट। फॉर फ्यू सेकंड्स, फॉर फ्यू स्टेप्स आपको वो मुद्राज मिलेंगे। और जो मोमेंट है वो आपको जो भरतनाट्य शास्त्र में जो है आपको 108 कर्ण, उनमें से 36 उफलीज जो हमारे सरायकेला छौ में यूज हुए हैं। और पहले तो बच्चों को वही सिखाया जाता है और कुछ चाली हैं, 10 चालीस हैं, 10 खेल हैं, 46 हैं मोमेंट। तो सबको हम लोग सिखाते हैं। हमारे बच्चे जो भी सरायकेला छौ सीखने आते हैं वही सीखते हैं। और एक टाइप है राजेंद्र अखाड़ा जिनका कि सरायकेला में वो आपको दूसरे स्टाइल से थोड़ा सिखाते हैं। वो भंगीज को लेकर चलते हैं। जितने भंगीज आप देखेंगे, जैसे कल आपने अगर देखा होगा तो उसमें आपको हंटर जो है, हंटर डांस में ये कंपोजिशन है राजेंद्र अखाड़ा जी तरफ का। और उन्होंने उसमें थोड़ा डिफरेंट टाइप का जो मूवमेंट है आप उसको देखे होंगे, फील किए होंगे। तो सरायकेला छौ में कहने का मतलब है कि हम जो भी करते हैं भरतनाट्यम सूत्र के अनुसार जो हमारे बनाए गए हैं और गुरु शिष्य परंपरा के आधार पे चलते हैं। हमारे कोई लिखित हिस्ट्री नहीं है, कोई एविडेंस नहीं है इसके ओरिजिनल की, लेकिन परिखंडा पे बेस्ड है। परिखंडा जो मार्शल आर्ट फॉर्म है उस पर हम बेस करके इसको चलाते हैं। और मैं इसके बाद तो आपको बताऊंगा ही हमारी मूवमेंट कैसे होती है। हमारे कुछ 2 मूवमेंट के लिए हैं, वो दिखा देंगे आपको कैसे हम ट्रांसफॉर्म कर रहे हैं सरायकेला छौ में। ये मूवमेंट को कैसे ट्रांसफॉर्म हुआ, मार्शल आर्ट से कैसे हमारे छौ में ले रहे हैं। और फिर जो राजेंद्र अखाड़ा जी हैं उनके जो मूवमेंट्स हैं उसको कैसे हमारे छौ में इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया है। तो मैं चाहूँगा सेकंड सेशन में उसको ये करने के लिए मैं ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं बताऊँगा अभी, क्योंकि मेरे बाद मैम हैं कुछ सुनाएंगे, वो अपने बारे में बताएंगे। धन्यवाद।
And we made clear why we have this very informal setup where they're not sitting behind a table. It's because this is about movement as communication through the body for movement. And so we've kept an empty space if anyone who wants to get up and actually show something. Okay, Kumkum ji.
Let's see them.
No, that'll come in the next session after tea. Now we have your overview. You give a broad canvas of whatever you feel you want to share. And then after tea, everybody gets a half an hour to go into some detail of whatever you want to share.
Thank you, Sharon. My pranam to Leela ji and most of my students and lovers of dance who have attended this seminar. The thing is, the subject is very vast. Secondly, my knowledge about Odissi dance is too vast. I don't know how to squeeze it for 10 minutes. If I start speaking about it, I think I'll take minimum 14 to 15 hours. But to start with, I will concentrate on the authenticity of the Odissi dance form. When we speak of authenticity, First thing, it's quite, you feel disquiet. But authenticity has a lot to do with the past. One of the amazing and inherent quality of Indian classical art, especially the Indian classical dance, is its resilience. Within a span of 30 years, Odissi was remnant of a past, regained its luster, brilliance and elegance. This transformation period of Odissi, I have seen in my own eyes. When I started learning what it was in 50s, how it started getting refined gradually in 60s, further refinement in 70s, 80s, 90s. Now, authenticity has a lot to do with the past. The prescriptions of the past seemingly mosaic in its rigidity, and the do's and don'ts of the gurus, which have been absorbed by the performing artists into such an extent that ultimately they become the grammar of dance form. In fact, grammar came much later than the dance form. When the dance form went to its height, in its skill and awareness, then only the grammar came. Even Bharatanatyam and other munis, they started jotting down the grammar, though not full, but to some extent. So, this prescription of the past, the do's and don'ts, they became the grammar of Indian classical dance, and because of this grammar, the classical dance has never been affected by the generation and generation. So, grammar has become the preserving brain of the art form. The connection, the only transmitting agent was the Guru at that time. The Guru, Shishya Parampara, and a long association with the Guru creates the lineage, which is called Parampara. And long association with the Guru without any break or parts is the answer to the Indian classical dance and its lineage. Then came, when the approach changed from transmission from Guru to classroom format, we find a great change. Those who cannot devote time fully to the Guru and they want to learn the art quickly, make it a career, not as a vocation, there the classroom format came, which gave an out to the Guru. You finish a course, got the degree, get the job. This is the scenario of 21st century. But in the 20th century, the dance was in a different way. I have seen in my own eyes, when we started learning, there were certain things were not there. How gradually they were inculcated and improved by the Guru himself. Taking the, from my Guru, Padma Vibhushan Guru Keluchara Mahapadra, he himself, how he developed and brought the dance from a crude form to a very, very refined form. And I think Leela ji is the best witness to describe it beautifully to you, which I can't. So, what was Odissi and what was his attitude or view or the aesthetics or high common sense to present one item? That should be remembered. And according to me, I don't like new movements. Running up the stairs, jumping, throwing and showing energy is the today's dance form. When you ask them, they say it is the audience choice. We communicate better in this form to the audience. But according to me, if one artist doesn't have the capacity to hold the audience for 1 hour or 1.5 hours or 2 hours, then you change to a new form where you do something which will create awe in the audience. Wow, so much of energy, so much of dance. All of you must be realizing this. Then secondly, my major thrust or opinion or whatever be, I would like to say music is the soul of dance. Without music, as Rukmini Arundel had said, a dancer swims and sings in music. If you don't have any knowledge in music, you have no right to dance. The dancer must know what she is dancing, not like a parrot which has been taught by the teacher and count 1, 2, 3, 4 and dance. So this is how nowadays how people are changing, because it's the age of capsule age. With minimum time, maximum knowledge you get, which is not possible. If a student who studies, you can study for 1 month and get a first class. But if you practice for 1 month, you can never hold the audience for 1 hour. It's a lifetime concentration, dedication, discipline and hard work, which is not seen. Regarding compositions, when I started learning in Kala Vikas Kendra, you see, there were 2 institutions in Odisha. One was Kala Vikas Kendra and the second one was National Music Association. In Kala Vikas Kendra, Guru Keluchan Mahapatra was teaching, and in National Music Association, Deva Prasad Das was teaching. And there was a very good competition between 2 institutions. One thing I must say, for the improvement of Odissi and the Guru's choreography, or his knowledge about choreography, was Kumar Utsav Samiti. There was a day, Kumar Purnami, there's a full moon day, where girls, unmarried girls, they worship the moon to get a good husband. So they collected, some young boys collected themselves, organized a function, Kumar Utsav Samiti, they said, once in a year. This produced one signature tune dance, typical popular Odissi music. Kumaro punei janalo fulo bolo beni kumari mane je puchi khelu chanti jhuntiya sabad sunalo fulo bolo beni. It's a very popular song and beautiful music was given by Pandit Bhubaneswar Mishra at that time. And even Parivartan Mohanty, probably she was the first dancer in this ensemble. Then one chorus sung, then one program produced by children, then one drama or Gitinatya. At last there was the dance drama. And those dance dramas, I must tell you, there was no video recording at that time. I must say, till now I have not seen such dance dramas. Very pathetic. Entire All India Radio musicians were there, Guruji, and the rehearsals will start morning 7 o'clock till 12 in the night. We used to have lunch there. All the gurus will sleep after lunch, but all the dancers will play. So much energy we had. After the games were over, again we are called back for the rehearsals. And those dance dramas, they were directed by the then Kumkum Mohanty of All India Radio and Govind Chandra Tej. I have seen how Govind Tej and Kumkum Mohanty used to direct Guruji. This side heroine will come, this is how the hero will come. And Sanjukta and myself were the hero and heroines in all the dance dramas produced by Guruji. From those dance dramas, the experience in dancing in those dance dramas gave me a lot of food, nourishment to become an artist. Formal training went on in Kala Vikas Kendra, but practical experience like laboratory we used to get from this production of dance dramas. Then another dance drama was produced by Babulal Joshi, who was the founder of Kala Vikas Kendra, in 1961 called Gangadhar Meher's Tapaswini. There was a 3-dimensional stage, revolving stage at that time, and the cost at that time in 61, it was 36,000, which will be now probably 3 crores. He made the stage like that. And I still remember Guruji was playing percussion nearly 15 to 20. He will jump from here to there, there to there, there to there. Here he will play percussion, then he will jump for tawala, he will jump for murdangam, like that. But not a single beat he used to miss. Bhuvneshwar Mishra, Hari Prasad Chaurasia, they were playing at that time. And the standard of music was very high. The standard of production was very high. The light band used to come from Calcutta. Nobody can imagine, there was no video recording, very sorry for that. But none of you can imagine to what extent a production of dance drama can go. With some of it came back when Konark Dance Festival started in 89. Same Guru Kenshramaptra produced some of them in a 2-tier stage. But such experiences very few people nowadays have, which luckily I had. And when I used to learn, nearly 100 of Odia girls were learning. Minimum 75 of them. And I have, all of them left dance after their graduation or something. They were good dancers. But because of the social stigma for dance or the family pressure, all of them got married and left dancing. Probably I was the only one who stayed back or kept it as a passion. And Sanjukta went to Kalakshetra. When she used to come back in summer vacation, she will join Kala Vikas Kendra. And I still remember one dance drama was produced by Guruji, Panchapushpa, when Indrani Rahman went to Puri to see. And she was the first lady who learned Odissi and made it popular in the All India level. In that Panchapushpa dance drama, Sanjukta was Madana, I was Rati, and 5 flowers were there. All of them were dancing so well, but all of them vanished from the dance field because of family pressure or social stigma. And I was also a victim to that, but my father was very strict. He said, unless you stand first in the class, I am going to stop your dance. And I had to study in order to keep up my dance, because he says, if you stand first in the class, my brothers and old guys, they won't come criticize me. So I had to study. And as she said, in 67 there was an All India seminar on Git Govinds on Indian classical dance, where Guruji brought me to do the Abhinaya. At that time, in my house, all the Gita Govinds, Dhira Samire Sakhi Hai, Pashyati Disi Disi, Yahi Madhav, were composed. Guruji will come at 9 o'clock to my house. Music will be composed by Pandit Bhuvneshwar Mishra, Rakhal Manti will be there, and he will concentrate on music for 3 hours, but he will teach the dance for half an hour, which I have learnt. What is music? What is rhythm? And his thought process, how it flowed along with the music. He will leave my house by 2:30 and I had to study international law from 2:30 to 5:30 in the morning. Anyway, just to please my father, in order to keep the dance. And in 70, when ICCR invited me to go to Russia, my father said, no. I was a lecturer then in Seraikella Women's College, Curator. My father said, you appear in All India Civil Service Test. If you get through, then only I'll allow you. And I promised. I started studying for 1 month and got it. Then he allowed me. Anyway, those things are different, but my perseverance to keep the dance at the same time pleasing my father, they're going together, which made me live in the dance world for quite a long time. But after getting the job and got married in 72, my dance was stopped totally. I used to get a lot of programs. Tears will roll my eyes. I'll tear the letter and throw it in the vegetable basket. Until my husband requested me to dance. When he was collector Sundargarh, he wanted to collect some money for the leper children. Then he requested me to dance in a program. I came back. But now going back to the history of development, I must say, Kala Vikas Kendra mein ek pallavi hota, those all of you know it as a Kalyan pallavi. Tadrim tadire tanana, tadrim tanana, tadim tarita jeno ta. This was the pallavi which we used to learn, composed by Balkrishna Das. And later on in Odissi Research Centre, it was discovered it is not Kalyan but Chandrakant, Rag Chandrakant. And another Basant Pallavi is there, say, which I won't call it a Pallavi because there was no Antara in it. The raga was not expanded. Jam tarita jenata jam tarit. So when we learned these two Pallavis, Bhattu and two Abhinays, it is only through Kumar Utsav, when Guruji and Pandit Bhuvneshwar Mishra came together, they started in 65 Sankaravarana Pallavi in my house. Not in Kalavikas Kandra anywhere, but in my father's house. Sankaravarana Pallavi was composed, then Shabiri was composed, then Aravi was composed. It went on because I used to get programs at that time and I used to tell Guruji, unless you give me a new item, I am not going to dance. So new item was to be composed because I will not repeat the old one. That was my motto. This is how, I must say, Pandit Bhuvneshwar Mishra is the mother of Odissi and Guru Keluchan Mahatma is the father of Odissi. He gave birth to the music and Guruji reared it. 24 hours Guruji will remember the sthai part of the Pallavi and what rhythmic pattern in Mardala will fit into that. He will think that is the greatest thing Guruji did for bringing the Odissi Pallavi to all India level. I have seen in my own eyes how Mishraji used to teach Guruji because Guruji had never had formal training which Pandit Mishra had in Vijayanagara Music School. He was trained in Carnatic music but posted in All India Radio Bhubaneswar. Then brought down all the Odissi maestros like Markananda Mahapatra, Kasinath Puja Panda, Balkrishna Das, all of them. And what was the difference between Carnatic music, Hindustani music and Odissi music?
What about P.V. Krishnamurti?
Yeah, no, P.V. Krishnamurti, he was there. He was the director of All India Radio. He used to conduct those at the same time. I am coming to that. So, Bhuvneshwar Mishra somehow there got the flavor of Odissi music through these persons and he knew how to adjust. Once somebody asked me in Bombay, what is Odissi music? I said, straight hair is Hindustani music, Negro hair is Carnatic music and little curly wavy hair is Odissi music. And this is the Gamakas of Odissi. We have danced, Sanju, myself, Guruji, we danced for 50 years. There are a lot of criticism, a lot of praise, but none had ever said. All the great critics, the dance was Odissi, music was Carnatic. The dance was Odissi, music was Hindustani. Then what is this? These Gamakas, our typical, out of 32 Gamakas, we have 2 Gamakas. But hey, bono mari, this you won't find anywhere. So, music plays a lot of 90% of the development of Odissi, which Pandit Bhuvneshwar Mishra gave. People have forgotten him. I still remember him. But without Pandit Bhuvneshwar Mishra, Guruji would have been nowhere. Because how will he get music? Dance is never composed in drum. So the stronger is the music, the strong is the dance composition. The lighter is the music, the composition will be lighter. That is my experience. If you have a good composition of music, then dancer thinks in that level how to reproduce that music in body gesture or footwork. So I have seen in my own eyes how it developed, keeping the grammar intact. Then coming to Odissi Centre, at that time, apart from Kumar Utsav Samiti, All India Radio, as she said, P.V. Krishnamurthy came as director, peculiar person. A director we have seen so many directors, nobody ever bothered for Odissi dance. But P.V. Krishna's time, he produced also very good dance dramas. First thing I remember, I was in class 8, he produced Krishna Gatha. Krishna, that is the script by Sunil Mohanty. How Krishna is viewed by different poets, Gopal Krishna, Banamali, Upendra Bhanja, Jayadar. This was the theme. And there was an interview, who will play the role of Krishna? Can you imagine, like an official interview? Most of the girls went. I was selected because I was quite naughty. I was selected to play the role of Krishna anyway. But P.V. Krishnamurthy was there. I still remember how he used to guide Guruji. This is how he used to express the music. He used to express Guruji like that. And one dance song was on Buddha. He used to guide Guruji and guide the script writer quite a lot. And his contribution for development of Odissi is too much, which none of you know. These things have become history now. So the development of Odissi came to this. Then when I was learning in my house with Guruji, I asked, Guruji told me something. This was the stance. I asked Guruji, what do you call this foot position? He said, I don't know. Whatever I do, you copy. This was a big question mark in my mind because there was no video recording at that time. Whatever is to be composed late at night, next day if I forget, Guruji naturally he will forget. If I forget, how to jot it down? There was no methodology. Had there been some methodology to write down the footwork, in Abhina you can always say, Tolagi Gopo Danda, Tolagi Gopo Danda, you can write down the hand gestures, but you can never write down the foot movement. See, this question mark was the answer to creation of Odissi Research Centre. I made a scheme of codification, documentation, notation and dissemination and gave it to Government of Odisha. What was happening in my house, I wanted it should happen under the government and all the gurus should come under one roof and create the things. Then Odissi Research Centre was created. I was brought in deputation and first thing I conducted a seminar beginning from all the Maharis, all the Gotipo maestros, Pankaj Charan Das, Guru Kelshwar Mahapatra, Deba Prasad Das, many were there, and including Premada Mohanty, Dr. Minati Misra, Sonal Wansing, Sanjukta, all of them were there. I ended at Ramani Ranjan Jena and Gangadhar Pradhan, nearly 50 to 60 of them. And my question was, how did you learn? No questions will be asked. You just show in your childhood, when you started dancing, how did you learn? From that seminar, about 14 chapters for Pathfinder 1, I got the grammar. So all the foot positions, were nomenclatured. All the foot movements were nomenclatured. The torso movement, which was not there in 50s or 60s, how Guruji went round all the temples very meticulously. He watched the sculptural poses. Then he started torso movement. It was not there in 50s or 60s, I am telling you. This torso movement, see, when you move your torso to the right, there is a curvature here, which all the temple sculpture you find, there is a curvature. It is never the hip is deflected. It is the torso which has been deflected to the right. There is a curvature. When you bend down, there will be a fold. So all these little things have been nomenclatured in Odissi Research Centre, and the 4 pillars of Odissi, Samabhanga, Abhanga, Tribhanga and Choga.
So shall we continue after tea, or you want to finish something?
We'll have tea.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I think that they've whet your appetite for more dance than tea. So let me request you, whatever you want to discuss, please go quickly out, get your tea and a cookie and discuss it out there, and then quickly return so that we can carry on. Because we want more. We've got demonstration, we've got video also. I think because there's so many interesting subjects to cover that we'll kind of just do a round robin, take one particular point and ask all 3 of them to elaborate on that, either talking or with the demo or with the video. And because we also want time for questions, and not only questions, but we have an audience that is also very knowledgeable on many of these subjects. So not only questions, but comments from people who could equally well be on the panel. So I want to just start by going round robin and asking, first of all, about the teaching, about the pedagogy, about how you learned, how you were taught, what it was like, what changes you saw over the years. I mean, I personally remember the way Guruji taught one generation, 10 years later, very different attitudes. You know, there was no payment, there was Guru Dakshina. Then when some people took advantage, then he had to be formal. You know, so there's many ways that things change in the teaching of it. And I'm also fascinated with Navi saying that with all of his love of his process of being immersed in a certain pedagogy, there were things that were like, something isn't perfect in heaven. And so what was the teaching? And then what did you feel and how have you changed? And what has happened in the style? So just really about that continuum about the teaching. Okay, Kumkum, why don't you start?
I started learning in 1958, 57, 58. When we started learning in Kala Vikas Kendra, Odissi steppings and probably were not there much. We started straight with Choga, Tribhanga, but without torso, Abhanga. But we used to do many popular dances at that time. For example, for children, little theatre, Kala Vikas Kendra produced one dance drama, dance on train, railgadi. So that railgadi gave us lot of scope for footwork. Kala dhala dhua chhadi, chuk chuk dake railgadi. Kala dhala dhua chhadi, chuk chuk dake railgadi. Khalo dipo sabu madi chale railgadi re, 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 chale railgadi re. Chagaram, chagaram, chagaram. Panvidi cigarette, panvidi cigarette, panvidi cigarette. Station. Again the train starts. I was playing the role of engine, and passengers were there. Topi wala, theka wala, dadi wala, chutti wala, topi wala, theka wala, dadi wala. All this. So this is one of the productions for CLT, but it gave us lot of fast footwork. When the train moves, all this fast footwork one has to do. And at that time, Ram Gopal Mishra was coming to Kalavekas Kendra to teach us Kathak dance. That helped us a lot. Then another dance was Phula Bhramara, flower and butterfly. Then this Paika dance was there. Then another that Kela Keluni, snake charmer and his two co-wives, how they are fighting, one is tall, one is short. Suna sujane kela ghamara gumara dui keluni ka. This is a very interesting item. And the tall one, malla malli, dapada pachali dekina thigi, te hinki pavuda malla, puni bangari mundare phulla. To guna kiya kari vatilla, khandiya dantare khillo. And then the short one was like degei gorilla, ucheka pari, te hinki pata pata. I mean, I can't tell you how interesting it was. But these little things gave a lot of scope to know the variety of Abhinaya and rhythmic patterns. So musically it was popular, but the rhythm and the expressions and the body movement. So these sort of dances are there. I still remember Kalavekas Kendra had a program in Seraikella when Babalal Doshi wanted to collect funds for the building. We used to perform Odissi, then folk, dalkhai and all that other items, then dance drama, Krishna Gatha, from 6 to 8. There was an intermission for 1 hour. Again the same thing like a film was repeated from 9 to 11. Can you imagine? We'll change costume from dance drama to Odissi. Then do all these items, and last is Krishna Gatha. And I must say what sort of energy we had at that time. And that is the will to do it, to please the audience. The connection with the art and the auditorium was tremendous then. But people were, in fact, they were searching for such dance items. Then I still remember, probably Mrs. Venkataraman will tell the date, I don't know, I was a kid then. There was a Curator dance festival produced again by P.V. Krishnamurthy, All India Radio, when Jawaharlal Nehru came as the chief guest to Cuttack. I was playing the role of son or a poet, I don't know, and all bigger, elder dancers. They were not formally trained, but they were dancers, known dancers, like Kajal Palit, my sister Bandana Kanungo, then Supriya Mitra, some very elderly ladies. They were dancing, but they were the main dancers in that. And some of the next generation were the statues in the Konark temple, like that. So I was one of them, a statue, one of the dancers. And we'll be standing like this for hours together. Little half, Guruji shout kare, kyun? Ek thapad. He said, khade ho. Are baba, return khade ho ge. Leave us, we'll do it. Then that lady vocalist, she was singing. She was singing like that. I started copying her. Then she said, leave these children out. They are standing there not doing anything. That is, by caricaturing her, we got the relief. The men dancers will be taught, what faida unka chhada hai, ugar kya faida hai. And Mrs. Venkataraman, she was a computer at that time. I still remember wearing a yellow sari with orange flowers. Oh, she was looking like a goddess. She was doing the comparing in that dance drama. And after the program was over, Nehru came and embraced me. Oh, black achkan to makeup lag gaya. And then he wanted to see who is the choreographer. He wanted to see Guruji. And Guruji is never found anywhere. He has run away to some distant shop and smoking. And when Nehru was searching for him, he was not there. This was the scenario. Oh, Guruji was so humble. he will never come to limelight. He will sit either in the orchestra side, he will teach, he is the main source of attraction, but he will hide himself. That shows the humility and the politeness, which is secret of his success. Nothing else. I have learned in my life discipline from my father, subtlety from my mother, and perfection from my Guruji. Whatever you do it perfectly. Even if you cook it perfectly. So these three things I have learned from these three persons in my life. Anyway, I don't know where I stopped, how to start again.
How do you teach differently than the way you were telling us?
Then, Guruji, I tell you, how he improved in his teaching when we were in class 8, 9. When I was in plus 2, I used to attend the workshop Guruji did in Kalavikas Kendra. There he started the steppings and some of the arasas he started and some Abhina items. But coming to mind, when Guruji left Odissi Research Centre in 96, then I started teaching, I tell you. I have been with him for 46 years hand in glove. I was observing him throughout my life. And the things I couldn't do in his time, I could do it now because they are stored in my computer. Very late I found, very late, after 46th year of my training, I found why Guruji's dance is so beautiful. Why not ours? Then I ultimately found his finger movements. Beautiful thing. He used to move his fingers beautifully. Same Alap you do. If you do it like this, it is crude. Very softly you do it. And in Odissi, I tell you, in Odissi Research Centre we found Pataka, Shithila Pataka from Pankaj Charnadas, Pallav Hasta from Guruji's choreography, then Alapadma. Between Pataka to Alapadma, there are two more Pataka Hastas, which we teach now to the children. In my time, what I did, Guruji did, suppose, as pedagogy says, 10 Joka steppings and 10 in Tribhanga. I started, apart from 10 in Joka and 10 in Tribhanga, I started making variety of steps. Suppose Joka, Tribhanga, Abhanga, तीनों को मिलाकर. Suppose number 3, I have taught them 7 types of number 3. Number 4, 8 types of number 4. Number 5, 6 types of number 5. Number 6, number 7, number 8, varieties, 8 types, 9 types, so that they know how to do Joka, Tribhanga, Abhanga together. Unlike Guruji's separate Joka, separate Tribhanga, then mingle it in the Pallavi. But I started doing that, and then I came to Arasas. Lot of Arasas, but without any drum help. 12-bit Nagma, 16-bit Nagma. Within that Nagma, one has to do the Arasa so that she will reach the sum. My mind, when I started doing, in fact there was a program in Bombay, Roshan Kumari and myself, we were doing Odissi and Kathak duet. And I still remember, Guruji started with Gativada Pallavi, both of us did. She did one portion, I did one portion. That was a big question mark again. Why not we have certain passages of dance like Parans, so that whenever there is a duet with Kathak, if they do a Paran, we can do a Parasa with the same Nagma. So that is my intention of teaching Arasas, so that they know what is Laya, what is Sur, what is Sam. So this is how I have made a development on Guruji's grammar. The entire grammar is made out of Guruji's style, but I have given the sketches in the book, not the photographs, because this is Odissi, must be accepted by all. Even Devaprasad Das's style, when you bring it to slow motion, it is the same. It is the same. Nobody can differ. They are accepting it. So it's a common grammar book which has been published. But teaching method, this is my method I am telling you. I don't know what Madhav is teaching or what others are teaching. Every one of us. For example, I was teaching in Bhubaneswar IIT. Those mechanical engineer, IT engineer, computer science, they don't understand any ABCD of Odissi. So when I started teaching in number 5 step in this movement, I told them, move your hand in Tripataka, move your hand like a protractor. Immediately they did this. Immediately. Because they are associated with protractor. Which our gurus can never say. Because they are not educated that way. But I know the size, the shape of the protractor. So I gave them the example of protractor, so immediately they did this. So like that, suppose like Bennett School, as you told me, Bennett School of Notation, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Corner 1, corner 2, corner 3, corner 4. I will tell, go 45 degrees to right angle. My students will do it. But if I started doing it, when I started doing it in front of Guruji, he slapped me. Yeah, kya bolta hai? वो तो कोने में जाएगा. It's the same thing I am telling you. Nowadays everyone is educated. If you tell them exactly the degree, they will do it immediately, sir. Then for my second book, another interesting, I'll tell you. I told Guruji, show me Odissi in 1 minute. What? They're playing jokes with me? I said, no. 5 gurus will be invited. Your name will not be announced. Your style of dance will not be announced. It is the audience who will decide for this man did Odissi, this man did Kathak, this man did Bharatanatyam, this man did Kuchipudi, this man did Manipuri. What will you do? No, I will not attend that program. I said, you will be given 1 lakh. Hang your 1 lakh, 1 lakh. I won't go. I said, you have to go. No. Impossible. Then in his absence, I called a girl, showed him 3 typical poses of Odissi. Yeah. Then 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 15 seconds. I have another 45 seconds with me to show the typical movement of Odissi. Then 5 movements. Then I showed it to Guruji. Okay. Then I started clicking all the poses. Most of the poses which we saw in the progresses of the dance. Then I called Pankaj Chandas. Again, to most of the poses he has introduced. Like that, the second book came with the poses. Now, an ordinary dancer, if I dictate, she will land up in a sculptural pose. Foot position, torso position, neck position, head position, hand position. Then what happened? So this is Sikandika. I called one dancer. Foot position, Tribhanga Pada. Left hand, Maharashtra near the right waist. Right hand, Maharashtra above the head. Head tilted to wall 6. She did like this. Then my writing was wrong. How to correct it? Then I introduced one thing, palm facing and finger pointing. Palm facing, opposite E is the sign for palm facing and greater than sign is finger pointing. Once I said palm facing wall 8, finger pointing to wall 10, immediately they did like this. So accuracy came in the description. So this is how the second book was written, unless one has to be very careful in writing it. So this is how we developed the grammar, and if you dictate, then the foot movement. Suppose this is with Lalita Parsni. Lalita means soft, Parsni means heel. Move your heel softly. This is Lalita Parsni. So like that many foot movements were codified. Now if I say in what is this hasta? Hold Pushaputta. Come enter the stage in Lalita Parsni in Ektali 4 times. Then you don't have to stand up and show. This is how Guruji used to stand up and show. Same thing was codified. And if you tell them, dictate them, they will do it. So this is the difference now in the teaching process.
It's very good. Let me make one quick interesting thing. When she did Pathfinder 1 and 2, as a beneficiary of her wonderful cooking, I did the English version.
She helped me a lot.
Okay, but when I was asked for a conference to talk about Karanas in Odissi, and I said, I don't know anything about Odissi Karanas. They said, well, we asked Jalen, but she's not available. So I said, well, Jalen doesn't know more than I do. So let me think about this, figure it out. Okay, so, you know, between Kamalini Dutt and Padma Subramaniam and everything, I realized, to make this story over, Pathfinder 2 was Karanas in Odissi. But one didn't think of it in those terminologies. So she's gathering this information. She's giving this nomenclature. She's defining these things, but one didn't realize that Akash Bhumi is step 8. You know?
No. See, once I started naming these bhangi, which Guruji said, no, not bhangi, it should be thani. In Odia, typical Odia, thani is the pose. A bhangi karne se Bombay mein bhangi to maid servant ko bolte hain, don't correct it bhangi, thani bala do. Thani is feminine gender. So all these nomenclatures had to be done in feminine gender.
Yeah. Okay.
This one, when we did, how to describe this particular one? Guruji will not agree to any other name. We spent nearly 6 to 7 hours. Sanjukta, myself, Pankaj Babu, Pandit Nelamani Misra and Bhagwan Panda and Suresh Kara. 3 of them were the Sanskrit Pandits. Sanju, Pankaj Babu, myself and Guruji were there. We took 2 days, 6 hours. Guruji was not happy with any other name. Whatever names were there. Ultimately, Chibuka Mandana. His name was Chibuka. Chibuka is changed. Mandana means decorative. He agreed to that. Then secondly, this particular movement, which is not found in any other classical dance. I asked Guruji, you are a Gotipua, and Gotipua's dance is full with this particular. What do you mean by that? He only explained that we used to dance in amphitheaters. And this means tha. Tha means, wait, my dance is not over. I immediately deciphered as a comma in a sentence. So the translation of comma in Sanskrit is birama. Like that, 66 nomenclatures were made with lot of discussions, arguments and all that. So now it's quite easy immediately to tell the students, first that serious and study the book, you can do it. And the tradition is not neglected or deformed. Another thing I'll tell you, nowadays what is happening in 21st century, some of the dancers are raising the legs like this in Odissi. When I ask them, they say, we are doing the Karanas. Natya Shastra Karana has mentioned this. I said, our Guruji, all the Gurus, Deva Babu, Pankaj Babu and Guruji, they never knew Karana. In fact, Karanas have been translated. Still the CD is available in Odissi Research Centre. It was explained by Leela Venkataraman. Guruji himself did all the Karanas. And I found most of them in Odissi are found in Chhau dance. But out of that, only one Karana we have in Odissi. This particular movement. So, but as I said, after 10 years in Odissi Research Centre, and after I left Government of India job, I found there is no code of conduct in arts. You cannot book an artist under any section the code of conduct. You are free to do whatever. One then Chief Secretary asked me, Kumkum, do you have flying kiss in Odissi? Did you see? He said, yesterday I have seen. I said, have you recorded it? No, I don't remember. I just said, there is no code of conduct. You cannot say anything. Anybody can do anything and get saved. They say, people like it if you do. If you sleep on the stage also, people like it. If you go kid, that is how aesthetics and strong common sense and embedded traditional effects should be there in classical dance. That is how the do's and don'ts which have been prescribed by our gurus and have been imbibed by the performers so much that we must remember our limitations. We just cannot go beyond it. In another dance form I saw recently, saxophone and clarinet music is there. I asked the person, why have you used like saxophone? He says, this is an international instrument. I said, it is only you who discovered it, Guruji and Panelist Bhuvneshwar Mishra, Balkrishna Das. They never knew how to use saxophone or clarinet or sahnai in Odissi dance. Can they produce the gamakas in Odissi dance? He said, what is gamaka? I was silent, what to do? If you don't know what is the gamaka in Odissi, and the gamakas cannot be produced by all the instruments. That is why our Gurus have limited the number of instruments which should be played in Odissi. This is the instruction or the prescription given by our lineage or the Gurus. We must follow them. Within the same grammar, you can innovate so many things we can do within the, don't cross your limit. There is a Lakshman Rekha, 3 Lakshman Rekha in our classical dance forms.
Thank you, Kumkum. You really covered exactly what we hoping for. Thank you. Simple question and covered it all. Sunil Dubey. Now, again, the same question. The changes in the way of teaching, what was taught, what you remember from the earlier days, like I guess Kedarnath Sahu or other gurus, and then what was that teaching, and how is the teaching changed, and the way people learn, what they learn, how they learn, and the impact on the movement. And you can also have a demonstration if you want. Okay.
Okay. When I was learning Chhau in very childhood, at that time I was 8 years old, my niece, and at that time we learned first the Thani. Ma'am told for something. We have also some Thanis, and then some Chalis moments. But next sir teach like these Thanis and some moments, and then Guru Shahu when come, he taught us some moments of Parikhanda, and then how Parikhanda is transformed in Seraikella Chhau. Some Paika moments are also there, and Guru Shahu these moments taught us, and how this transformed to Seraikella Chhau. These we learn at that time. But now, these students are very coming few, very few students are coming to learn this Chhau, and Guru are also not like Guru Shahu. None was now like that level, and students are very few learning to this Seraikella Chhau. I don't know, because perhaps this present situation of Mehengai and job, I think so, because Seraikella Chhau has not so much scope to earn money to survive. I think so. And the government is also not doing such things that the artists can survive. Only fellowship and scholarship is not a match. And I have demanded something to government of Jharkhand, that you implement some our course in education policy also, and so that some student can go to the schools and teach this Seraikella Chhau to students of schools level, college level. That will be benefited to our Chhau gurus for earning and surviving. But still nothing is going there. मैं अभी बता रहा था कि सरायकेला छौ में 3 स्टाइल हैं, सरायकेला छौ, मयूरभंज छौ एंड पुरुलिया मानभूम। सरायकेला छौ की जो स्पेशलिटीज हैं वो कुछ अलग है, हमारे कुछ मुद्राज भी हैं, भंगीज भी हैं, मूवमेंट भी हैं, लेकिन वेरी सोफिस्टिकेटेड है. फैंटास्टिक मूवमेंट विल गेट हियर इन सरायकेला छौ, लाइक पीकॉक, मयूर एंड चंद्रभागा. परहैप्स यू हैव सीन टुमारो लास्ट नाइट. तो वो चीज़ आपको पुरुलिया छौ में नहीं मिलेगी. उसको जंपिंग एंड पलटा अल्टा ये सब मिलेगी. और मरुभूमि शो में तो शायद ज़्यादा बॉडी की मूवमेंट होती है हमारे हिसाब से. अभी की जो स्थिति है सरायकेला छौ की तो दयनीय है मेरे हिसाब से, क्योंकि हम लोग जब सीखते थे फ्रॉम 8 o'clock मॉर्निंग हम जाते थे केंद्र को, 2 घंटा 2.5 घंटा वहाँ डांस प्रैक्टिस करते थे, टेक्निक सीखते थे. लेकिन अभी ये सब नहीं हो पाता है. अभी कॉलेज जाते लड़के, स्कूल जाते हैं, वो लोग सुबह आएंगे नहीं, वो शाम को थोड़ी आते हैं, 1 घंटा 1.5 घंटा अपना प्रैक्टिस किया, चला गया. तो वैसे में किसी आर्ट को हम लोग इतना प्रमोट नहीं कर पाएंगे. अब मैंने जैसे बताया कि स्कूल लेवल से इसको अगर शुरू कर देते तो अच्छा होता. पहले जैसे होता था, टाइम ही टाइम था सबको. बच्चों से बहुत लड़के आते थे. हमारे 10-8 क्लासमेट थे जो हम एक साथ सीखते थे. 10 करीब 3-4 साल तक हम लोग सीखे थे. फिर मैं तो म्यूजिक लाइन में चला गया और कुछ अपने डांस में रह गए. और तब तक 4-5 साल के सीखने के बाद उनको 8-10 आइटम आ गई थी. फिलहाल अभी जो सिचुएशन है, मैं चाहूँगा वो बयां करना कि अभी केंद्र में हमारे वहाँ जो केंद्र हैं, सरकार की जो केंद्र है, वहाँ ना टीचर हैं, ना गुरु हैं, ना म्यूजिशियन हैं, कुछ भी नहीं है. सब रिटायर कर चुके हैं. अब इसके भविष्य क्या है पता नहीं है. हमारे केंद्र में अभी जो बच्चे हैं, कुछ बच्चे आते हैं जाते हैं सीखने के लिए, तो हम तो उन्हें कुछ दे नहीं पाएंगे, स्कॉलरशिप वगैरह, स्टाइपेंड. तो आजकल वो सिचुएशन हो गया है कि उसके पेरेंट्स आके बोलेंगे भाई इसको स्टाइपेंड कुछ मिलेगा, सरकार से दिलवाओगे तो भेजेगा बच्चे को. तो वो चीज़ नहीं हो पा रहा है. तो हमारा अभी अब जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं जो टीचिंग देने के लिए यहाँ पर हैं, वो कुछ आपको मोमेंट भी अभी दिखाएंगे थोड़ी देर के बाद कि सरायकेला छौ कैसे 1900 के उधर पूरी क्रूड फॉर्म में थी. सरायकेला छौ जी ने क्रूड फॉर्म बिफोर 1900 के उधर. इट इज स्टार्टेड द डेवलपमेंट वर्क. ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन जो हुआ वो 1920 से 1950 तक हुआ. और दिस वाज द गोल्डन पीरियड ऑफ सरायकेला छौ. 50 के बाद आपको 70s तरफ उधर कुमार विजय प्रताप जो कि फादर ऑफ द सरायकेला छौ उन्हें कहा जाता है, जनक जो है सरायकेला छौ के, मॉडर्न छौ के, वो गुजर जाने से वो ब्लैक डे हो गया, ब्लैक ईयर हो गया. उसके बाद साहू जी की कुछ कोरियोग्राफी हुई, कंपोजिशन हुई, रात्रि वगैरह. और उसके बाद अभी तक जो कंपोजिशन है, वर्क है, वो उस लेवल में नहीं हो पाया है. और वैसे गुरु भी नहीं है शायद मेरे हिसाब से कि उस लेवल की कंपोजिशन कर पाए. तो 1900 के बाद 1920 में कुछ हमारे हिसाब से मैं कुछ लाया हूँ लिख के, जिनकी कंट्रीब्यूशन थी, जिनका कोई नाम भी नहीं जानता होगा. उपेंद्र विश्वाल ये मेंटर थे हमारे वहाँ के. ये बहुत बड़े आपको मास्टर थे इसमें. नीला, खेड़ा, कृष्ण लीला, गोटिपो, ये सब के मास्टर थे. तो सरायकेला में 1900 के इधर जो होता था, नीला खेड़ा हो गया, रासलीला हो गया, कृष्ण लीला हो गया, और कुछ ग्रुप डांस थीमलेस. उस समय थीम नहीं थी. 1920 के बाद थीम को इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया. क्लासिकल एलिमेंट्स जो है उसमें इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया, जैसे राग रागनी. ताल प्रधान है सरायकेला छौ, तो ताल को भी उसी तरह हिंदुस्तानी में किया गया. कुछ ओडिसी के ट्यून्स वगैरह दिए गए. जैसे मैं अभी कल हुआ था एक चंद्रभागा, जिसमें ओडिसी का ट्यून था, मैं गुनगुना दे रहा हूँ. काली जादूरो सुखी कोरोना कोलामो आखी लाला, इस तरह का हम लोग का जो ओडिसी टीम है, कुछ डांस आइटम में ओडिसी टीम को भी इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया है और उसकी रिदम तो मैं बजवाऊंगा, आपको सुनवाऊंगा। इस तरह उसमें इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया है। ताल को कैसे हम लोग डिवाइड किए हैं वो सारा कुछ आपको सुनाऊंगा। और जब मैडम बोलेंगी टेक्निकली, मैं आपको उस टेक्निक को कैसे ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हो रहा सरायकेला छौ में वो थोड़ा आपको दिखा दूंगा। ठीक है?
पूछने वाले थे कि हारमोनियम कब खुलेगा?
हाँ, जब बोलेंगे खुल जाएगा, वही तो बता रहा हूँ। अब मैडम बोलेंगे तो
Please, you want to demonstrate?
Yeah, something I want to do.
Yeah, please quickly, set it up.
Say something. Mr. Sanjay will demonstrate some movements of two types of we have movements. One type is Rajendra Akhada style and another is Baja Sai Akhada, that is Parikhanda style. Parikhanda राम जो ये तिरभंगी स्टाइल में देखिए डांस। इस तरह से हमारे ट्रेनिंग क्लासेस होते हैं वहाँ। अब इसी मूवमेंट को छौ में कैसे हम लगा रहे हैं, देखिए थोड़ी थोड़ी हम लोग दिखा रहे हैं। हंसा, हंस आइटम हंसा ये ये वाला राजेंद्र अखाड़ा स्टाइल का। अब परिखंडा स्टाइल में थोड़ा मार्शल आर्ट वार प्रैक्टिस। उफली लोकल लैंग्वेज में कुला पाछोड़ा दुर्गा डांस देखा था पता यूज डांस दुर्गा यूज हो रहा है। एक बच्चे को जब हम चलाना सिखाते हैं करते हैं सरायकेला छौ में। और कुछ अगर पूछना है तो पूछ सकते हैं।
Okay, we really enjoyed that. We all want more.
Anything more, Guruma? Anything more? Music or some?
How about some tal? Can you explain one tal?
Yeah, do that.
Tal explain करते जो गई मुझे।
हमारे सरायकेला छौ में हिंदुस्तानी ताल का प्रयोग होता है। अभी इसे तबले पे जो बोल बजते हैं,
तबले पे जो बोल बजता है उसको ढोल में कैसे पिरोया गया है वो मैं अभी करके दिखाता हूँ। जैसे सिंपल सा चीज है, जैसे रूपक हमारा बजता है ती ती ना धीना धीना, ठीक है। अभी इसको हमारे सरायकेला छौ में कैसे यूज किया गया है। दिन धेन दा दिन धेन दा दिन टिक टाक टाके ती ती ना धीना धीना ती ती ना धीना धीना। और एक खासियत है हमारे सरायकेला में जो भी रिदम बजता है छंद के हिसाब से कुछ ऐसे हैं, जैसे धमार, धमार 14 मात्रा का होता है। क धीट धीट धा ग दीन दीन ता। हमारा एक आइटम है सागर, उस पे 14 मात्रा बजता है लेकिन छंद उसका रूपक है। मैं करके दिखाता हूँ। छंद रूपक है, देखिए बज रहा है धेने धेना धेने धेना रागीना डे दा डे दा तागी 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 ता ती ती ना धीना धीना ती ती ना धीना धीना। ये है खासियत।
So, all of it, in terms of the music, in terms of the basic technique, and we're talking about this, what we saw last night was what those familiar with it over the decades have seen, in terms of music, costume, choreography. What are the changes that you see away from this?
Now.
Yeah.
Where? In Seraikella Chhau.
In Seraikella Chhau, what is happening in Seraikella Chhau that's different from what you were taught, trained, and doing, okay, musically and
I can tell you the music, what it has been changed nowadays. Previously, as we know that our music has been composed by Pandit Pannalal Ghosh, the great maestro of flute. Then Peer Bucks came to Seraikella, Faimullah Khan for Shanai. But nowadays, suppose that our Guru has trained us that in this item you have to play this raga based on raga. For example, there is one raga in Bhairav Thought, Radha Krishna. Sisina no tire
राजा बाधु हसी पाछा कोना नारे सिसिना.
But now there are some people, I don't want to raise their names, they use rag jogia. What is the meaning of nothing is matching with the rhythm as it is the tal pradhan?
Sisina di da da gina. Okay? Radha da gina. Okay? Radha da gina. Tere kitty tagi, tere kitty tagi, tere kitty. Sisina.
But now it has been changed a lot.
Why? Why?
I have no idea, ma'am. I have no idea what they are doing. They are mesmerizing everything. They destroy the original essence of Seraikella Chhau.
And the original essence came from Pannalal Ghosh.
Yes.
So that is a Hindustani, right?
Yes, yes.
But before that, there must have been composition. Pannalal Ghosh ne to last.
Crude form before that one.
अच्छा.
लोकल ट्यून्स को लेकर के बनाया गया. तो लेकिन अभी जैसे हमारे डांस में शाहना राग भी बजता है, उससे बेस है.
हाँ नहीं, वो तो ट्रेडिशनल ट्यून्स हो सकती किसी राग में.
सब राग में ही बेस है.
लेकिन आपने जैसे बोला एक राग
जी,
तो वो तो कॉम्पोजिशन पे डिपेंड करेगा ना कि कौन सा राग यूज करना.
हाँ.
या सिर्फ जो ट्रेडिशनल है 2 राग उसी में होता है, ऐसा नहीं ना.
नहीं, जो जिस चीज को उन्होंने बनाया उसको ही हमें बरकरार
उसको वैसे रखना है.
सौंदर्य तो उसी में ही है ना.
हाँ नहीं, लेकिन वो उन्होंने कितनी कॉम्पोजिशंस बनाए?
बहुत सारे हैं मैम. अभी करेंगे तो पूरा टाइम निकल जाएगा.
नहीं मतलब उन्होंने एक पूरा
हम उसी सबको भी नहीं पूरा कर पा रहे हैं.
नहीं, पूरा सिस्टम बना के गए वो, इतने सारे गाने इतने रागों में.
क्योंकि धवलजी बैठे रहते थे और एक ढोल वाले को बिठाते थे. किस तरह से तबले के बोल को ढोल में पिरोया जाएगा. हाँ, हमारे इस पे बोल भी बजता है. बजा के दिखाओ अभी.
नहीं, मैं समझ गई, क्योंकि आपने जैसे ठेके बोल के मतलब 7 मात्रा में क्या क्या किया या 14 मात्रा में, वो हमें समझ में आ गया.
धा किटे धा किटे धा किटे दिना किटे तुम किटे ता किटे दिना.
बहुत सुंदर.
धा धा दिना कत्ता का दिना तेटे कता गदी गिने धा तेटे कता गदी गिने धा तेटे कता गदी गिने. देखिटे धा देखिटे कर ताके तेटे कता गदी गिने ता किटे तान ता किटे दान दान देखिटे दान दान देखिटे दान दान. तो ये सारी चीज भी है.
हाँ, ये तो बहुत सुंदर आपके ढंग में जो ढोल में बजता है, वो मतलब वो ढोल के बोल हैं वो ज्यादा सुंदर लगते हैं, अप्रोप्रिएट इसके साथ. मतलब ये जो आप तबले के बोल बोल रहे हैं, ये इससे एक अलग पिक्चर दिमाग में आती है ना. हाँ, जो डिफरेंट. और कई बार जैसे आप बजाते हैं, मतलब जैसे हम जब देखते हैं डांस तो कई बार ठेका आता नहीं हमारे दिमाग में. जब डर जब आता है तो मैं तो ताल ढूंढती रहती हूँ. मुझे समझ नहीं आता.
मुझे वही सवाल पूछा था कि भाई सम कहाँ पर है, खाली कहाँ पर है.
पूछा था कि आप 3 ताल कह रहे हैं, तो 3 ताल कहाँ है, उन्होंने दिखाया.
नहीं, जैसे आज बता रहे हैं ना, 14 मात्रा को कैसे ट्रीट.
जब तो वनराज भाटिया बैठे हुए थे, मुझे बोले बेटा तू त्रिताल बजा रहा है, मुझे सब दिखा. क्योंकि मीटर में सही दिखा रहा है. क्योंकि इसका वजन तबले का वजन
वही अलग है. वही मैं कह रही हूँ.
प्रॉब्लम है तो खाली
नहीं, और हमें कोई जरूरत नहीं कि हम कहें कि वो हिंदुस्तानी ताल पे बेस्ड है. आपका खुद ही इतना उसका सशक्त है कि उस पे जाने की जरूरत नहीं. आप कहिए 14 मात्रा का है, आप ये मत कहिए धमाल. मतलब
ये बहुत अच्छा आपका सलाह है कि 3 ताल मत कहिए, अपना नाम. कंफ्यूजन होता है.
I think this is a worthwhile subject for another seminar. If anybody can get support for it, this is a good place to go. And because the time is short, what to do? I want to take some input, export from Navi, and then time for you to give some reflections.
Guru, one thing I want to say. Guru,
please do.
1 minute.
Yes, yes. 2 minutes.
I am very much happy to know this, that perhaps you know, I don't know, Seraikella Chhau is recognized as 9th classical dance form of India. That's why I am very much happy to declare this one
in front of you.
Really wonderful. Okay, now I'm going to tie together. I've asked Navi, he's given approval for the question for him, because he gave this essential foundation, but he didn't come to, what it was, how he developed his non-classical movement motivations, because he has done phenomenal work. It's not a question of fusion and smooshing together. He's done deep, deep work in developing a pedagogy for himself that has been labeled as contemporary, but it comes out of everything. So how did this happen? Where did this pedagogy, what were the gnawing things when you were in Paradise that led you to a new pedagogy and where you are?
Tell me when to stop.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, very quickly. I'll have to. It's not a simple question, but it's an important question, at least for me. But it is. I'll have to kind of give a little overview. So the first thing that I want to say is that the reason that I'm speaking the way I'm speaking today, the reason that I'm. Sorry.
Ice cream cone.
Okay, thank you. The reason that I'm speaking the way which can be considered, I don't know, I'm questioning or it's radical or whatever, is because because I am discontent. मतलब मैं क्या बोलूँ कि जो मेरे अंदर एक कुछ चीज़ देखने की प्यास है ना, वो प्यास नहीं बुझ रही. When I see something, when I see dance today, मेरे डांस देखने की प्यास नहीं बुझती. And for the longest time I've been quiet about it, but now, because there's something I see promise in dance of an experience that I have seen. I know the music promises that, and yet something is not delivering. So all the things that I'm questioning are for finding maybe possible causes that have led us here, because I think we've all landed up here. And frankly, if you ask me, we've landed in a mess. Dance is in crisis today. The world is in crisis today. If the world is in crisis, dance se bacha nahi hua. So we have to really kind of sit up and say ki, bhaiya, something is not right. So that's why I'm doing all these things. That's also one reason that I'm playing with devising these practices, so to speak. And so as I said in the morning, before I started dancing, I got into music, and when I would listen to music, and it would make me so moved, and I realized at that point that what I was feeling, I didn't have adequate vocabulary to express what I felt. That's why I chose to dance, because I was feeling something, and I was feeling very clearly inadequate, and I realized that iske liye form ki zarurat hai. I need a rigor of form, I need the vocabulary, so that is why form is super important. But then on the other hand, I also feel that something has been overachieved in form perhaps, which is completely bypassing. And what is bypassing for me is the appetite. First of all, I have an appetite for something. I have an appetite to see, and to me that's the most important thing. Agar mere pe wo chakne ki appetite nahi rahegi na, if my appetite gets confused, then whatever will come out is going to be like that. So I think the most important thing is that how do I preserve that appetite? The appetite for rus, the appetite for nuance, as I said, the appetite for the body to betray something that cannot be said or which is not allowed to be said. And yet in dance, the body can betray that, and that is the moment for me. कि मजा आ गया, मतलब it's like haiku, हाँ, जो कहीं भी नहीं जा सकती और दिख भी गई. मतलब कितना मेरे रोंगटे खड़े हो जाते हैं मैंने say these things. कहीं भी नहीं जा सकती और दिख भी गई. बस वो वहीं का खेल वहीं खत्म हो गया. You can't go and repeat it. You can't tell anybody कि वहाँ था. So that is what has kind of caused me. And then luckily, I feel so fortunate that I'm also a yoga practitioner. My training in yoga and my training in dance started within the same week. This is June of 1981. I always get confused. I joined Kalakshetra on a Monday, And in Wednesday, I was at the Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram studying. And Leela, she knows that all too well because it was in her family house, right? The Mandiram was in your, so. And then I also realized that when I started doing yoga, the very first day of that practice gave my body an immersive experience, which I said, "Arey bhai, ye to bahut badhiya hai." And then I wanted to kind of replicate that experience in dance. And I said, dance में तो मतलब chance ही नहीं देते आपको भगा के आपको. And then that's when I began to kind of question form. At the same time, I know the importance of form. And I took out a very, very long story short. I think this whole idea of imposing a text onto a lived history of form, I think this is one problem. You know, these were lived histories. And again, I would say that this problem is particular to Bharatanatyam probably in ways that's not particular to any other style. Because when you are trying to, I mean, dance is a embodied practice, and I've also said that, you know, and I want to repeat it, what I feel and what the body can betray exceeds speech, exceeds words. So, अगर जो चीज़ मेरी body betray कर सकती है, अगर उसके ऊपर एक correctness की पाबंदी लगा दी जाए, which has happened in the reconstruction of dance, the correctness of a text, when it is imposed upon a fluid, organic development of an embodied practice by lived practitioners, I think the problem starts there, number one. But I think more than anything else, I think something that has, to my mind, burdened and stifled dance is the development of a self-consciousness. कि हम, मतलब, you know, ये जो dances में आ जाती है ना कि हम मतलब बड़े धर्म का काम कर रहे हैं. ये सिर्फ डांस, ये तकलीफ सिर्फ डांस को है, musicians में नहीं है. There is something, there's a bit of a, like, this is noble work. And this self, again मैं कह रहा हूँ it's not noble work, it's beautiful work.
Yeah, exactly.
But that self-consciousness, that self-consciousness doesn't allow me to immerse in a manner which dance and music warrants. It is just that, I'm not saying at all that it's an exquisite, dance is exquisite, that's why I love it. But on the other hand, मुझे हमेशा भूखा छोड़ जाता है, और आजकल even more so. So this, I think this self-consciousness has to be, I hope you understand what I mean, कि हम, ये मतलब, ये, उसमें वो सहज होता है ना कि जो अपने आप वो चीज़ होती है. You know, when सहज is when you are in the flow of things and you're not concerned about correctness. So to quickly answer her thing, I've devised a practice called somatics, and in fact one of my students is sitting here. And just recently, I was doing abhinaya with them, and I asked them to do, and they are classically trained dancers, and they were doing abhinaya with their eyes closed, and they all kind of got into these. And the thing that I work on is when I make a shape, there's an appetite for me for that shape. You know, कि मेरा ऐसे ही करने को मन कर रहा है. And then that shape becomes a container of that feeling. Number one, the shape is a container of a feeling, and on the other hand, because the body cannot escape visibility, that shape is also being read by you. है ना? And जब दोनों चीजें में सम आ जाता है, what you read and what I feel when it comes at par, then you say कोई चीज देखते. But if you are feeling something, but the shape that you're implying is a studied shape, the discrepancy between the studied shape, which is correct, and the condition of the feeling within leaves that gap for me. Which is, so what I was saying was that these girls, most of them are girls, boys as well, when they did their shape and when they felt it was in sync with what they were feeling and the shape, and when they opened their eyes, they said, my God, this is the shape. Because in their minds, the shape was something else. But it was like an incomplete shape, but an incomplete shape which was full. It was भाव के साथ full थी. और मैं भी देख रहा था, मुझे पता लग रहा था कि उसमें क्या महसूस किया जा रहा है. So they become kind of transparent. So when you go into a correct form, कि ऐसे रहना है, you are kind of dabbling with that transparency. And when that transparency is gone, then मतलब थोड़ा सा हल्का फुल्का टेढ़ा मेढ़ा भी हो जाए तो ठीक है यार. कम से कम उसकी सच्चाई नजर आनी चाहिए. So it's a thing कि सच्चाई versus correctness. Emotional honesty. I use the word emotional honesty. There's nothing more endearing, for me at least, than to see emotional honesty in the body. And when that emotional honesty आती है तो मैं अपने आप पहचान मेरे आंसू टपक जाते हैं किसी को देख के कितना सरल और कितना सच और कितना casual है. This is super important. It has to be सहज, it has to be casual, it has to be unself-conscious. Sattvic rasa will only happen in unself-consciousness. Sattvic rasa is not voluntary. Sattvic rasa is involuntary. It is unself-conscious. And जिसने डांस का क्रॉस उठा रखा है ना, जब सबने उठा रखा है, मतलब मेरे कंधों पे उसका भार है. As long as I'm bearing a cross of the tradition, I will never be allowed to be unself-conscious. And फिर मतलब we are defeating the same purpose of what we are trying to nurture. So this is the not it's not paradox, it's the irony of मतलब मुझे तो लगता है कि बात इतनी बिगड़ गई है कि I don't know. So yeah, I think, have I said it all?
You've said some really important things. Yes, Leela ji?
You said, you asked me something.
Yeah.
Please.
As she's coming up, I'm going to apologize to Kumkum. No. Before you speak.
ऊपर आइए आप.
Okay, I'm all right. Just give me the mic. Actually, Navtej is so expressive that he sets you thinking. Now, you know, when you're talking of grammar and movement and all that, you are discussing the body instrument in dance. And I think this body is a wonderful instrument, but it's also a very vulnerable instrument. And the vulnerability somehow gets exposed more and more in modern dance. Now, you know, in Bharatanatyam particularly, the teachers in the olden days did not teach you step by step. They only had the tattukali, the stick and the little piece of wood, and they would beat the timing on that and say, now do this. And this thai, even the hands, you know, the hands were for the feet, and they would teach. So when I saw students of Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai, for instance, Shanta Rao danced in a particular way. Somebody else who learned from him danced in an entirely different way. They all learned from the same guru. Yet what they did was completely different. Each one had only got the language from the guru, but what they put into that language was their own emotions. You know, I think there are always two stages in a dancer's life. First is to find the dance in yourself, and then you have to find yourself in the dance. And to find yourself in the dance is a very, very long process, and some people never find themselves in the dance. Now the other day, I was just mentioning to Navtej, there was a girl from Kalakshetra dancing. Well, very sweet looking, nothing extraordinary. Short. There were 10 people seated in the Habitat Hall. Just 10 people in that huge hall. I said, what is this? This is ridiculous. Now this girl, she danced to recorded music, mind you, even the music was not live. She came onto the stage, and you know, we have dancers today, Bharatanatyam, who are flinging their arms about in order to cover the stage, and it's a style which lends itself to coverage of the stage very well. So you have these broad movements, and they are going round with great speed and with a lot of activity. This person was dancing only in the center. She never went away from it. And she was not trying to exaggerate anything, but somehow there was something that was so beautiful about the dance. I think Sharon was also sitting there. And all the people who sat there said, beautiful, 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 and they were all clapping. Now, that is the dancer's insight coming out in the dance, which doesn't usually happen. And I don't know if this is, Navtej doesn't seem to think so. I don't know if it is because the instrument of the dance is the body. And you know, the body is looked upon in different ways, at different times. And you can get very self-conscious with the body. Now the same Tyagaraja Kirtane or the Muthuswami Dikshita Kirtane or Purandara Swami songs are being sung by every musician, Carnatic musician. But yet you never say they're all alike. Each musician is different from the other. The musician is expressing himself through the song. Why does it happen in dance? But dance, you see this sameness, you know, you think they're all made out of the same thing and it's the same thing happening over and over again. And that uniqueness is missing because the dancer has not found himself or herself in the language, in the medium. That is very, very, very important.
May I just say one thing?
You see? Now, for instance, Kumkum danced and I've seen Sanjukta dance. They're very different. They never danced the same way. I mean, though they were doing the same movements. I think somewhere, I don't know if the teaching has something to do with it.
I think coming on stage too early has got something to do with it.
No, and also there is something about dance, you know, the prima donna attitude that you're coming with all these, you know, clothes, you're looking very beautiful.
No, I think that,
I don't know.
That is a that is सहजता.
Something is wrong.
सहजता जो आप बात कर रहे थे ना, वो ना बहुत देर के बाद आती है कि जब आप भूल जाओ. आप अगर हाथ में पूरा नहीं कर रहे, doesn't matter. But to arrive there, you have a long journey. अभी dance musician cannot perform early. They have to be trained for years. एकदम से वो स्टेज पे नहीं आ सकते. हमारे डांसर आज 10 साल सीख के स्टेज, 10 साल शायद मैं ज्यादा कह रही हूँ आज की उम्र में, वो स्टेज पे आ जाते हैं. 2 साल. ये प्रॉब्लम है क्योंकि अगर आपने मेकअप और कॉस्ट्यूम पहन लिया तो आप डांसर हैं. ये प्रॉब्लम है. सहजता आने के लिए बहुत लंबी कहानी थी.
I also feel, I mean, just so Leela ji keh rahi thi, which was talking about Meenakshi Sunil or whatever. I think उस समाज में लीला जी होता था कि the gurus taught one-on-one. That there was one student.
Yeah.
You know, like if you look at who was who was it? The Mylopur that one are.
Meenakshi Sunil.
There was Muthuswami Pillai. He only taught one-on-one, and all the students that he taught were so different from each other. And he would look at the dancer, I mean, it's a student, and uske anusar he would, you know, like they would, because the teacher of course can see ki uske andar kya hai. The teacher can read the student's appetite and capacity, and then facilitate that.
But you know, when you know the story of Rukmini Devi doing a particular padam which had been taught to her by a Devadasi, who was ex-Devadasi, who was employed in the institution because she was really hungry most of the time otherwise. Now, when she did a particular movement, Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai said, why are you doing that particular gesture with that mudra in that way? She said, well, I've seen all the Devadasis do it. She said, the Devadasi does something which comes out of her background.
Yeah.
She's brought up in a particular way. So she thinks in a particular way. And it's her life experience which comes out in that particular mudra, she expresses it. You have not been brought up the same way.
Yeah.
You take something from your life and its background and do it. In those days, Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai used to tell Rukmini Devi.
There were many things edited out.
Ultimately, you know that dance has to relate to the person, to the period, to the inside of the person, you know, when you're expressing yourself.
I just want to quickly wrap up because we are out of time.
Also, हमारे classical dance में, because the dancers have no training, like Kumkum ji was saying, without thinking of music you dance. Our classical dance cannot happen that.
Absolutely. I mean, music is not only music, the love for music. You know, I mean, of course, no knowledge of music, but also उसकी जो मतलब
मजा उसका लेते हैं.
वो आएगा फिर कुछ रस बनेगा. Otherwise you just kind of say कि मोटा मोटा आता है तो फिर तो बात नहीं बनती. But I just want to say one thing. I'll try to wrap up. So there are two or three key words. Like appetite, I think is very important. कि हम सब के अंदर एक appetite है. अभी रस की appetite है ना, भाव की appetite और feeling की appetite. So उसको preserve. Like I would say a teacher who is teaching a solo student can cull out that, facilitate that appetite because their appetite दिखती है ना. Number one. So somehow how to preserve and nurture our appetites. First of all, identify them. Number one. Number two, जो मैंने अपनी practice की बात, of course she asked me for my practice or my dance is both influenced equally by yoga as it is by dance. And there are two words. I mean, in dance हम रस के लिए करते हैं. I mean, rus happens when I feel bhava appropriately, adequately, in the right measure, and of course allow myself to get into an involuntary state. Number one. But to my mind, इससे पहले जो what is important is something that has come to me through yoga, which is a state of sukh. जब तक सुख नहीं है ना, तब तक सहज नहीं है, और जब तक सहज नहीं है, तब तक रस नहीं है. So this thing of coming into a place of sukh, which yoga is custom made for. And when you listen to music or when you see something just kind of falling right, वो देखने में मतलब मुझे बड़ी interesting बात ये लगती है कि जैसे कि I quickly give this trajectory that you know the like Mahatma Buddha is I think he revolutionizes spirituality. Mahatma Buddha says watch your mind, watch the movement of your mind, the screen of your mind, and eventually आपका ध्यान लग जाएगा, right? So vipassana, in a detached manner, looking at the drama of your mind. A few centuries later, Patanjali says, watch your breath in the same manner. Watching the drama of your breath but in a detached manner. And I feel then comes Natya Shastra which says, मैं नाचूंगा और ध्यान आपका लग जाएगा. I mean that means that very important. So I dance with a manner that it somehow disables it detaches you somehow. And to me, I think the last thing, the thing that is making dance impossible to watch for me today is the eagerness in the dancers to dance. Nothing is ना काबिल बर्दाश्त for me कि जो dancers को इतनी उत्सुकता मैं तो डांस ये जो चीज होती है ना कि मुझे नहीं देखना, सच्ची मुझे नहीं देखना. I mean this eagerness which has become like the enthusiasm of the upholder of whatever, पता नहीं कहाँ से आती है. वो ग्लैमर से भी आती है कि सुंदर लग रहे हैं. Just saying that eagerness is बड़ा प्यारा सा काम है यार, सरल सा काम है, सुंदर काम है. तेरी मेरे बीच की कॉन्वर्सेशन है. To me, dance is like पदम for me is a conversation. कि आप बैठिए मैं भी बैठता हूँ, दिल की बात करते हैं.
That's so true.
And it is that, and it's a casual, sehaj, intimate thing that I think our dances are made for. At least that's what I think.
That's really good. Okay, 1 second, let me just tell you, I want first you to say your remark. As you see on the screen, is Sharma to come because he's a Chhau artist, different style, wanted him to give comments, other people, so much to say, but we're really out of time. So unless someone is absolutely dying, then Manjari ji will be the last commenter.
Actually, इतनी सुंदर चीज के बाद तो कुछ बोलने को रहती है. लेकिन बात जो कि संगीत की हो रही थी, तो इसलिए बार-बार नृत्य में जो प्राण स्पंदित करता है वो संगीत है. और बात जब शास्त्रीय संगीत.
Here's the mic.
Can you give the mic and just thank you. हम सब जानते हैं नृत्य में प्राण संगीत ही है जो प्राण स्पंदित करता है, वरना नृत्य मात्र एक्सरसाइज रह जाती है. तो क्या है उस संगीत में? देखिए, फिल्मी संगीत या कोई भी सुगम संगीत जो है उसमें भाव प्रधान होता है, पर शास्त्रीय संगीत में जो बात होती है वो सच्चाई की होती है. ये कतई मैटर नहीं करता है कि आपकी आवाज मोटी है कि पतली है कि सुरीली है. वो भगवान की दी हुई है। आपने उस पर जो काम किया है, आपने उस पर जो साधना की है, वो उसमें वो सच्चाई लाता है जो उसमें प्राण स्पंदित करते हैं। तो the main thing about the voice is the truthfulness of the voice. It's not the melodiousness, it's not the decoration. आप किस तरह से सजा करके खटके मुर्गी से उसे सजा करके प्रस्तुत करते हैं, वो बात नहीं है। बात ये है कि आपके सुरों में सच्चाई कितनी है। एक छोटा सा उदाहरण कल शाम का देखिए, सिंपल सा डांस था, छाऊ डांस, जो कि कल तक फोक कहा जाता था, आज पहली बार सुनील जी ने उसको शास्त्रीय की संज्ञा दी है। लेकिन जो म्यूजिक था उसमें बांसुरी को याद करिए, उसके सुरों की सच्चाई जो थी वो भावमयता से भरी हुई थी। जब सुरों में सच्चाई होती है तभी भाव और तभी रस और तब सात्विकता तक हम पहुंचते हैं। मुझे बस यही कहना था। धन्यवाद।
Bharat Sharma, do you want to say anything? No. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
आवाज आ रही है?
एक बेसिक सी ऑब्जर्वेशन है जो कल रात को परफॉर्मेंस थी छऊ की, मैं दुबे सर से सोची थी।
Can you give the mic somebody?
It's not about a comparative study with the Mayurbhanj Chhau and the Seraikella Chhau. It's about the mask that they were wearing and how it was portraying a lot of bhava. Strictly pertaining to Seraikella, because
मयूरभंज छौ में
नहीं सर सुनिए, जब हम मयूरभंज देखते हैं मोस्ट ऑफ द मास्क हम देखते हैं उसमें इवन दुर्गा हो, कार्तिक, there's a bit of aggressive portrayal.
मास्क नहीं, मयूरभंज छौ में मास्क नहीं है, सॉरी
नहीं सर, ये पुरुलिया, सॉरी पुरुलिया की सॉरी पुरुलिया। तो कल जब जितने भी मास्क थे, इवन द हंटर, उसका भी जो भाव था, the way the mask are being made, something about the construction of the mask.
जो नवरस है ना,
हाँ, बांसुरी तो इसमें setting the tune, setting the mood of the performance.
Mask is the focal point of Seraikella Chhau.
Exactly.
और हमारी जो स्थायी भाव है, उस भाव को हम उस मास्क में पिरो देते हैं। कलर कंपोजिशन देखिए, आप शास्त्रीय में देख जाएंगे तो कलर की जो भाव है शास्त्रीय में वही चीज वो कलर दिया जाता है। जहाँ रोमांटिक सीन आ जाता है, रोमांटिक सीक्वेंस है, उसमें देखिए पिंक कलर का होगा, राधा।
नहीं, जो हंटर भी थे उनका तो एग्रेशन वाला है, लेकिन एक सॉम्बर लुक है, एक बहुत सहानुभूति वाली फीलिंग आती है सेराइकेला के मास्क में। तो वो कुछ सोच के आती है, या it is because we were listening to that kind of music which was setting the mood for the performance. Everything was so, all the stylistic feature is like that. As a whole.
Moment, music,
yes,
and expression, उसकी जो moment की जो expression होती है मास्क की, वो सारे मिलके आपको वो मिलेगी।
Right.
Okay?
Thank you. Yes, please. Just give the mic.
No.
Okay.
What I would like to know is about the announcement Seraikella Chhau or Chhau as classical dance. If you can elaborate a little bit more so that you know.
No. Seraikella Chhau is declared as a 9th classical dance form. Not Seraikella, only Chhau I have seen in Government of India, Ministry of Culture. And it is also announced in Seraikella Chhau Festival. That Seraikella Chhau is announced as a 9th classical dance form of India.
But does it matter? I mean,
it matters. I'll tell you why it matters. Because years ago in the conference, when there was the seminar, Padati and Avasti, Kokarji, Sunil, they all wanted my notes because I went from Paika to Chhau and then the Natya Shastra, Akash Bhumis for thing. And I was like, it doesn't matter, traditional. What is the meaning of these Western terms? The difference is that Sunil, by calling me up years ago from Suraj Kunmela and saying, Guruma, we're dancing in our masks, all this dance in the heat every 5 minutes. We're given food that we can't eat. We're staying in a dormitory with all of the tribal craftspeople. And basically it matters because they don't get the respect and they don't get the money by all of the standards of Doordarshan, ministry, etc. So it really matters. And I'm thrilled that Seraikella Chhau has been recognized, and I'm saddened that Mayurbhanj, which is so nuanced and sophisticated with its vocabulary, has not been done because it doesn't have a vocal advocate that is of the level that was able to do this. But I'm hopeful it will follow very quickly and be added.
I have one. I was there for the chow yesterday. You very beautiful.
Sunil, I give it the mic.
It was very beautiful. The masks and all of this, but even with the simplicity, they were very impressive. Now, one question I have. All the fabric textiles, they were traditional, except for the one for dupatta, the white. What was the reason for selecting that very modern-looking dupatta net, that white net, which had very geometrical patterns?
It's because Banarasi silk dupattas are harder to get.
Huh? Because it was...
It costs 5,000 rupees a meter now. Look at Odissi dancers. Look what they're wearing now on the stage. We want to wear traditional saris, but you can't afford it, and so one has to compromise with just a little border and cotton.
But I'm sure, being a costume designer, I know we can create something which is very...
I think it'd be wonderful if you would give the sponsorship so they could do that.
Net was out of place. Net was out of place. That white net, the rest of it was very nice, beautiful. But that white net was totally out of place. It was like a veil. I've been working deeply with the costumes, and I felt. I mean, I should express it.
Thank you, Sharon. I really appreciate that because she is a wonderful costume person.
I would like to thank on behalf of Manasa and all our participants here this evening, our beautiful speakers. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for enlightening us with a conversation we were not expecting and we were not even prepared for until we stepped in today, and we had no idea where it would go, but it went so beautifully. And that's the beauty in unexpectedness, I think, when you come here ready for everything. And there was so much to take in, and like ma'am rightly said, I also felt like this was not enough time for us to do this, and I'm sure all of us here feel that we could probably spend a week and still not extract all that we wish to. So thank you so much to all of you for gracing us with your presence. Thank you so much to all our members here who were present here today. Thank you to all the gurus, all the dignitaries for making time for this. And we also hope that you're able to join us this evening for Omkara's second evening of dance performances. We are presenting Odissi by the Manasa Dance group, and also we have, of course, Guru Srimati Kumkum Mohanty's group all the way from Odisha presenting Odissi for us. So please join us 6 p.m. at the IIC C.V. Deshmukh Auditorium. Thank you so much.
I have always had a very special connection with Odissi, because in 1955, when I got married, the place I went to was Orissa. And that was a very important time in the history of Odissi dance, because the entire new structure of Odissi was coming into being, and these great gurus were working night and day to create a repertoire which could be presented as classical dance on the stage. And that was a time when I happened to be there. I was, of course, too young to know that very, very important things were happening all around. But I happened to meet all the gurus. I had wonderful conversations with them.
I interviewed them for All India Radio because I had learnt a smattering of Oriya, and you know, P.V. Krishnamurti, who was the director, was very fond of asking me to talk to them half in Oriya, half in English, half in Hindi, I mean any language. And those were very, very different times. And I still remember the way rehearsals used to be conducted in Kumkum Mohanty's house, and the way her mother would be serving tea, and you know, pan being made for everybody and served, and working day and night to create some new dance drama. The day when Pandit Nehru came onto the stage and went straight to Kumkum Mohanty after the program was over and said, "And weren't we smart?" And then he patted her and then he said, "Where is the choreographer?" And where was Guru Kelucharan Mahapatra? He had disappeared to have his BD and then to do his little pans and fold them. And of course, if you had seen Kelucharan Mahapatra folding his pan, I mean his BDs, that was a work of art, a work of supreme art. The way he arranged those leaves, the way he put the supari and all the other little things one on top of the other, and the way he folded it. My God, I've never seen anybody do it like that. And he would arrange them neatly in a little box that he had. So everything he did was artistic. Though the man himself was so unpretentious, so modest, so simple that you never imagined that he had all this greatness within him. So it was wonderful to see some of the dances yesterday when I saw Sharon presenting her students. Imagine a foreigner coming here, learning Odissi, settling down in this country, and then becoming a teacher, presenting her students. I mean, where have we gone? From where, you know? These traditional dances have traveled all over the world. And it's very important to think not only of the past, how they came into existence, what great things they gave us, because it gives us some idea of why we should preserve them. But along with them, we have to think of other things. Can we forget what we are saying with the dance? Can we forget what we are trying to tell the public through this language of dance? What should we do with that language? It should not be something which is meant for ornamentation and show. It has to be much deeper. And, you know, we had some speakers today who go deep into things like this. I mean, who is the speaker who spoke with me? Navtej, I'm sorry, I forget names now. Navtej Johar, I mean, he is one person who is able to say things which people are not able to put into words. And it's not something just about technique or the, you know, outward. But what dance means to us, what it means to the person who is using it as a language, what we want to preserve through that and say to the public, and how to keep this really an art form which is vibrant. And that vibrancy can only be there, as he said, if the truth of the person using it is expressed through that language. Otherwise, it does not mean anything. So I'm very, very happy that in a small seminar all this has come out, and it has been a wonderful. Yes, that's what I said. He was there, that is why I went there, you see.
मनसा का माने ही होता है मन से, मन के द्वारा जब किया जाए वो होता है मनसा. और शैरन लोवन ने जब भी कोई भी फेस्टिवल्स ऑर्गेनाइज किए हैं, बहुत मन से किए हैं, बहुत सुविचारित अवधारणा के साथ किए हैं, चाहे वो मनोधर्म हो, चाहे इससे पहले भी. और सबसे बड़ी बात कि हर उत्सव में एक विचार सत्र ज़रूर होता है, एक सेमिनार ज़रूर होता है. हमारी कलाओं में अभ्यास तो रह गया है, पर विचार की कमी आती जा रही है. सोचना ख़त्म होता जा रहा है, और सोचना समझना किसी भी कला के लिए बहुत ज़रूरी तत्व होते हैं. मैं हृदय से बधाई देती हूँ ओंकार फेस्टिवल की इतनी सुंदर अवधारणा के लिए. और पहली बार सरायकेला से स्वर्गीय गोपाल दुबे जी के त्रिनेत्र संस्थान को दिल्ली में प्रस्तुत करना मुझे लगता है दशकों बाद हुआ है। और ये बहुत बड़ी बात है कि सचमुच में जो स्थान विशेष है, वहाँ की क्या परंपरा है, उससे हम लोग अवगत हों। द ऑथेंटिसिटी ऑफ एनी आर्ट फॉर्म इज़ वेरी वेरी नेसेसरी। और आज हमने इस पर भी बात की है कि क्या हो कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट, किस तरह से उसको माना जाए, किस तरह से उसको निभाया जाए। और इसके लिए आजीवन साधना लगती है, ये मजाक नहीं है। और इस सब को इतने सुंदर तरह से इसी सरायकला हमने देखा, ये विचार सत्र हमने देखा, और आज शाम को भी हम प्रस्तुतियाँ देखेंगे। कुमकुम जी को इतने वर्षों बाद हम लोग दिल्ली में देखने जा रहे हैं, और हमने सुना है कि उनकी एक वर्कशॉप भी हो रही है। उनसे सीखने को आधुनिक आज की पीढ़ी को मिल रहा है, ये कितनी बड़ी बात है। जिसके पास पीढ़ियों की संपदा संचित है, वही असली वारिस है इस कला को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए। और ऐसे गुरु आकर के यहाँ पर अगर कार्यशाला ले रहे हैं तो इसके लिए अलग से बधाई देनी चाहिए। मैं हृदय से बधाई देती हूँ शैरन को, उसकी पूरी की पूरी शिष्य संपदा को, जिसने सारे के सारे कार्यभार को इतनी सुचारू रूप से संभाल रखा है, और उसके ट्रस्टीज़ को, कमलनी जी, नरेश जी, इन लोगों ने शुरू से ही जिस तरह से मनसा आर्ट विदाउट फंड्स को संभाल रखा है, मुझे हृदय से शुभकामना है कि ये उत्तरोत्तर विकास करें और इसी तरह से इनके सुनियोजित सुविचारित उत्सव बहुत लोगों को जितना आनंद दें उतना ही एनरिच भी करें। हृदय से धन्यवाद मंजरी सिन्हा की ओर से।